Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my Java chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on pussy. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. I hope you're all having a good morning. Let me get this thing to slow down here. It's a little too fast for me. There we go. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Sorry I was late. I had a phone call from my daddy, and I couldn't ignore that, so I had to answer it. We are planning a family fish fry on Saturday at the river. So I was getting last minute instructions. Good morning, Butterfly. Welcome on in, everybody. Y'all get on in here. We do got a big show to get to today. Lots of stuff on tap. And boy, am I seeing more that's coming to light since I put the thumbnail together in the show. But we'll get there eventually. All right, let me get everything set up here. All right. My phone. I had to pull up the chat on my phone, and of course the phone wasn't turned down. Dad's doing well, Butterfly. He's made a full recovery from whatever the infection was that he had, the sickness. He's no longer down with the sickness. He's up and moving. So, good morning, Sejoy. Welcome in. Forrest, Dolphin, good morning. Dolphin will be joining us here. Miss Dolphin took off and had her a couple of days vacay, I believe. Let's see here. Where am I? There she is. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Oh, hey, I'm fine. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well. So you've been on a trip for the last couple of days, right?
Yeah, I left Sunday and came back yesterday.
Good
Went
for you.
to Asheville, North Carolina to go see the Biltmore Estate and the King Tut exhibit that they were having.
Ooh, the King Tut exhibit. Nice.
Took
That's a
Big
nice
Sweet
little
with
trip.
me.
How did that go?
Oh, it went really well. Yeah, she had a good time.
Good.
I've got a great hotel recommendation. It's not really a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody goes there, it's called the Residences at Biltmore, and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
basically a one-bedroom apartment, and it was nice. Had a balcony and had like the little faux balcony in the bedroom. Like when we got back
Yeah.
in at night, we would just open the doors and just look down at like the other buildings, and had a cool breeze, and we fell asleep 2 nights in a row like that.
Mm,
So,
that's nice. I like that kind of living.
yeah.
Yes, that sounds good. How far is it for you to get over to Asheville?
4 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
Mhm. Nope,
Not
wasn't
bad
bad
at
at all.
all. No, not at all. Well, that's good. Nice little trip. Nice little trip. So we did a case update show yesterday, and we kind of dove into the Celeste stuff a little more because there's not a ton out there, just a bunch of this and that. But we
Mhm.
did go over some relevant stuff that had been coming down, like the videos and footage of her being seen at the home, even after she had been reported missing and things like that. And updates of where we are with the case as far as law enforcement. And they had released a statement finally. We read that yesterday. But what has come down since what was yesterday evening, TMZ has released some more stuff they had found out, and then Ashley Banfield put it out on News Nation, and we're going to
Mhm.
take a look at that clip. Um, so we're going to take a look at the clip in the Celeste case. This is about her home life. Because we have a lot of questions about her home life anyway, and how multiple runaway situations and being reported gone, then she's back, and then gone, and then back. Um, Apparently the cops were called to that home 11 different times, and
Wow.
twice the video where she's leaving the house at 7 a.m., going down the sidewalk near the liquor store there, her house is just down the street from that. And
Mhm.
apparently the cops were called twice on that day. So I don't have the reports or the dates to verify all of it, but we'll take a look at the News Nation clip. um, and if you guys noticed from the Stefan Stearns is a little scared, but it's only going to be a little 5 minute or so segment we're going to touch on there. Um, the Ellen Greenberg case. So I saw some rumblings and talk about that, and I'm like, I got to go figure what that is, figure
Mhm.
out what that is. So I did that after the show yesterday. I'm like, what's this noise about? So it looks like Hulu is putting out a new docu-series on the Ellen Greenberg case. It's already out. I checked my app this morning and I'm like, oh, they got 3 episodes dropped. And of course, I
Mhm.
haven't watched any of them, but it's on tap for me to watch this evening.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll report back with what, because I'm wondering if there will be anything new that will come to light there that we haven't heard before, or what all's packed into the docu-series. You guys remember a while back when we did a live stream on Ellen's case, and we brought that Brian Enton had interviewed the doorman from the apartment complex that she lived in.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
yeah, we do you remember that? And so he's going to be
Yep.
in the series, I believe.
Mhm.
So let's pull that up and we'll take a look at that. And also, um, Idaho 4 case, the Laramie versus the city of Moscow, and of course the Chapins joined suit against releasing anything else that isn't redacted, and the judges issued an order on that. And it's like a 14-page order, so we'll take a look at that as well. I think it was just a lot of compromise going on there. And then I noticed it looks like Kevin Fixler from the Idaho Statesman did another interview over on what's that guy's show? The Courtroom Confidential guy.
Oh, yeah. Is that Josh Ritter?
Yeah. That's his name, Josh Ritter. So I
Mhm.
barely watched like 5 minutes of it. And
Mhm.
the one thing that right out of the gate was Bill Thompson will not be doing any more interviews. They feel like the case has been unpacked and blah 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 blah. Blah. Okay,
Right.
okay. Well, there's still a lot to be talked about. And then he's like, well, there'll be more once the 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 court docs are released unredacted. But you're still not going to come out and answer no questions, my guy. You didn't answer them
Mhm.
to start with. So I'm gonna have to review that show later just to see what Fixler says, because I'm not paying a paywall to go read his shit on the edit. Oh look, I cussed again. I'm gonna get in trouble with the darn YouTubes. I need to So Salty Can Cuss fund. Sometimes I'm not suitable for ads. Okay, let me pull up this News Nation clip. So I would like to see some of these. Why were the cops called to this girl's house so many times?
Yeah,
Uh,
I definitely wanna know that because I think one time said, 3 times per day, like in one day or whatever.
yeah,
I did see something last night really late.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's in this piece. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. Okay. And apparently there's some neighbors that are speaking out now. I wish, well, I wonder. So the people that were in their world, in David's world, in Celeste's world, the ones that are coming out saying, well, we thought she was 19, all of those people that were ever around them are, they're moving through interviews with those people trying to pinpoint everything. Um,
Mhm.
so, and like there's nothing charged yet because I don't even know how this girl died. Okay, and now there's chatter. Was there an accomplice? Well, duh. Could there have been? Yeah, absolutely. If there's somebody willing to say, "Sure, guy, I'll lie for you and help you hide a body in the frunk and never tell a soul." Yeah, that could have happened, but who knows?
Rising superstar named David.
and his dead underage girlfriend named Celeste Rivas Hernandez. We have heard it before, and we heard it again just last night, that Celeste ran away from her family again and again for a reason. Reports said that the girl's home life was troubled. Her middle school boyfriend, before she ran off with David, said that her mother treated her badly and that she often talked about running away. And now TMZ has the receipts of repeated police visits to Celeste's family home in Lake Elsinore, California, 70 miles away from the Hollywood Hills, where Celeste sought refuge in David's mansion. TMZ has learned that the Riverside County Sheriff's Department responded to calls about Celeste's family or from Celeste's family about 11 times in a little over a year. The dates are February 2024 to April 2025. And remember, the family reported Celeste missing for the last time in April of 2024. So those calls continued for a year while she was ostensibly missing. And until this week, we believe.
So if some of these calls were happening
TV?
while she was missing, they weren't pertaining to her, apparently.
So maybe some DV in the house?
Maybe so. That's what I'm wondering. Because her
Did
dad,
they say they have other kids, or?
she has a brother,
Oh, okay.
and the dad is apparently living in the home.
that that April of 2024 was the last time that they'd seen each other, right? Celeste and her family. But now we know different. And I'm going to come back to that in a hot minute. All of the police visits were listed as, quote, minor crime investigation, except for one of them. And that one was described as, quote, suspicious circumstances.
Suspicious circumstances.
Again, no details available from the police, but the dates of these calls speak volumes. 3 of the calls happened on one day, March 19th, 2024, which, by the way, yeah, that's the day that Celeste ran away. She was caught on surveillance camera in a neighborhood liquor store.
And this was allegedly at 7 a.m. So the cops weren't called before 7 a.m. I'm assuming the calls were placed after this. Why would the call? Did they say, "Hey, our daughter ran off. We don't know where she is," or was it the neighbor calling because they're screaming and yelling? Interesting.
You know, her sister went to this liquor store / convenience store or whatever, and asked to see their footage. I wonder, is this the same time period?
Yes. From what I understand, yes. Yeah, because the sister is the one who went and got the footage from the liquor store, and the liquor store guy says, "Yeah, all the kids come in and bought candy," and I'm like, "Okay, what are we doing here? We're all going to the liquor store to get our candy, but okay."
Running down the street at 7 a.m. Black car was seen pulling out after her, but it's not clear if Celeste had gotten into it. This was just something that happened that the liquor store owner saw, but it wasn't caught on tape. 2 of the 3 visits that day were to Celeste's home. Cops came to her home 2 times. But the 3rd visit that police made was to that liquor store.
Oh, okay.
Celeste's sister also visited that liquor store on that day and asked to review that surveillance video.
So when the sister got there and saw the video, I wonder if she called the cops to that location.
One of the other police visits that TMZ documented was at 9:29 p.m. on April 5th, 2024. That time is about a half hour after the family reported her missing to the police for the very last time. So they report her missing at 9 p.m. and at 9:30 the police are at their door. Officially, Celeste was still.
So she's gone all day, and I guess they assume maybe she's at school or something.
Yeah.
All day for your child comes home. But I guess if they were used to her running off and coming back, maybe they were just waiting for her. I don't know.
Missing when her badly decomposed remains were found here in this impound lot in the front trunk of David's Tesla. This was 23 days ago. But was Celeste really still missing without a trace at this point? The other day, TMZ acquired video of Celeste in her parents' backyard on September 8th of 2024. That's 5 months after she supposedly ran off for the last time. And it's also one day after her 14th birthday. Amazingly, the coincidence here is that it was 1 year to the day that her remains were discovered in David's trunk. This video was shot and released by neighbors, a different neighbor who heard.
Now, we all reviewed that footage yesterday. And the neighbors have a big memorial. There's memorials out there in front of this house. Like, they weren't like mad at her, and they weren't even going off on her. They were just like, kind of laughing at her a little bit.
The argument spoke with our Banfield producers on the ground in Lake Elsinore just today. Have a look.
The first time I saw her, she was walking down the street early in the morning. It was during the colder months, I remember. It was just a 1 second. I was driving down the street and I saw her like big, beautiful curls. And I'm like, oh, that little girl's so pretty. And then I just went on my way. But that was probably like maybe 6 months before she went missing the first time in February 2024. And then I saw her, well, I didn't see her again. I heard her again when she came in through the apartments. But yeah, I didn't know she was the missing child from next door. I have lived here since February of 2023, so almost 3 years. I've never met the family. I don't know their names. I don't know how many people live there. I just know there was a lot of cars parked out usually, at least 5 cars in the driveway, most of the time, most of the days. But I don't know who the family is. My backyard peers into their backyard, and I can also see their driveway, the front yard. I've never heard or seen police officers at their house. At any time, I think I would have noticed that, unless it was late at night where I was asleep, but I never noticed any police activity at Celeste's home. So the video circulating with Celeste coming into the apartments being a little upset, that video was only released to pinpoint her timeline of her missing. And that's the only reason why it was released, because on September 8th, 2024, she was technically still missing.
You bet. And again, I want to reiterate, September 8th, 2024, 1 year later, she'd be found dead in the trunk on that very day. And it's also the day after her 14th birthday that she was in that back.
All right. So a lot of that she's going to talk about is stuff we already know. I still feel like there was a lot of, we don't know where this girl is, but yet everyone knew where she was, situation happening.
So
And
they didn't report that she had come home.
No. Well, her first official report of being missing, she came back, and I guess the cops went and got her, from what I understand, took her home, and then she left again, and then they filed a second report, and then she returns after that report, has the incident with the neighbors and all that, and was never returned home at that point. The missing flyers were still up, according to the neighbors around the neighborhood. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions here with this girl's timeline. When was the last time anybody saw her alive or even in the presence of David? In the home, like we went over yesterday, were they able to recover any surveillance from the home? If not, why not? Was it damaged, destroyed, tampered with? What about the car itself? We know all the capabilities this car had. Was the USB still plugged into the glove box that contained the videos? And from what we heard from the car people, there is a camera trained right there on the front. You can see who's opening, who's closing. What you doing there, buddy? So was the USB still plugged into the glove box? Were they able to recover it? And did it have anything on it when it was recovered? That's the stuff I want to know. That I really want to know. The fluff is going to be out there no matter what, and wading through is what we've been trying to do. But these reports that are coming out, the 11, it's concerning. Because like with Jen Soto, it appears you failed to protect your daughter. Is that a situation here with Celeste family? Of course, I'm not trying to blame the family for what happened to their daughter, but we're talking about a child.
I mean, it seems like she was running wild to me, you
Exactly.
know?
Hmm.
I had 2 questions. Have you guys
Hmm.
already looked at the video, where she was arguing with the neighbor?
Yeah, we did that yesterday.
That was a grown man she was arguing with, right?
Uh huh.
That's what I thought. And then my other question was, when the police went and got her and brought her back, did anybody ever say where she was? Like, where did they pick her up at?
It just, the reports that I heard just says they went to the Hollywood Hills and picked her up. Did they
Mm.
go pick her up from David's? Where did they
Yeah.
pick her up from? The cops
Mhm.
know. Where's that
Mhm.
report? So there's still a lot of police investigating. I'm assuming that are doing that we don't know yet. And those are the
Mhm.
questions I want answered. Yeah, I know he's got this cute little Celeste song that was never released and all the weird lyrics and such, but hell, if there's weird lyrics are a dime a dozen, so I'm not going down that road. I want
Yeah.
to know about this police report stuff. I want to know about what was recovered from that home and that car, and why has anybody been charged. And I get you cannot charge with murder if you don't know a murder occurred, but
Mhm.
she didn't get there alone in the trunk. Somebody tampered with a body.
Yeah.
Who did and concealed death? So who did that?
Did you
Why?
guys, already cover his parents' house being swatted?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We went
Yeah.
over all that yesterday, and the fools that are out there doing ridiculous stuff like that.
Mhm.
It ain't. It's just swatting is so immature and ridiculous. I don't even understand why people get like, I'm going to get a good jolly laugh here. Let me just call up and swat some people today. I've never thought about that in my life.
Did you guys already have a theory about how the 911 call was made and, it pinged at their actual address?
No, I didn't. I haven't given it much thought.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't. I guys, because I don't know what to make of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just, is this going to be another bizarre case with a bunch of weird twists and turns, or
Mhm.
is there any legitimacy behind any of it? But who would do that, and why would they do it from within the? You know,
And it was the day after his house was raided, right?
I believe so.
I think so. I just watched it last night, so I think that they said the house was raided by the police, the one that he was renting the day before, and then the day after, I think, his parents' house was swatted.
I can't remember the date that the parents' house was swatted. Did I write that down on my notes from yesterday? Hold on.
The
Let's see.
18th of September?
September 18th is jumping out on me. Okay. David's house was searched for 12 hours on the 18th. Yes, ma'am. And his parents' house was swatted on what date? Let's see. Did I write that date down or did I not?
Um,
Mm,
because I watched Ashley Banfield, and she mentioned the swatting first, and she said, "Remember this date," and then I thought afterwards she talked about the rental being raided. I thought it was the day before, but let me Google.
the family was swatted on the 18th.
Hmm. Right, and the home was raided, I think, on the 17th.
I've got the 18th on both dates, but that could be completely wrong. I could have written that down wrong. You think so? Look, Forrest has got a good comment. He says he feels like that call was a ruse to go see if they could find David.
Oh,
Ooh.
Ashley must have bad information then.
Sometimes Ashley do. We have to take her with a grain of salt. She's just a media
Yeah.
personality with sources. Lately, a lot of her sources are TMZ, but sometimes they're all not always. Yeah, a lot of time. That's why I'm taking everything, even coming down from News Nation,
Oh, no, the LA Times says they served a search warrant on the 17th
of the mansion.
of the mansion.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I remember the 17th because that's my mom's birthday.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know who did the swatting episode or why they would even do it, unless it was the authorities doing it themselves to go see. But I would just go knock on the door. You got the right to go knock, see if they're there. Um, Surround the house in case he climbs out a window or runs out the back door.
If he's
I
being
don't
set
know.
up, maybe somebody did it to, because maybe they knew he was at his parents' house. Because by that time, was his tour canceled?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
Well, I believe so. And look, even these kids on Xbox will swat one another.
Oh, yeah.
The swatting can occur anywhere, anytime. Somebody else on YouTube's claims they were swatted by law enforcement. So I don't know who swatted them or why. I honestly, getting to the bottom of that really doesn't concern me. I got too much other stuff to worry about. I think that's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
If the cops didn't do it to go
The
see if he
thing that
was
caught my
there,
interest was the fact that the cops were standing there saying, and dispatch was saying it was
mhm,
pinging. The call was pinging at that address.
it could have been a neighbor like right
And then
next
they were
door.
like, "Oh, somebody was on our property." And then they started
Hmm.
searching the property.
Maybe somebody was out there trolling around and called while they were out
Mhm.
there because they're idiots and don't realize their phone's fixing to show up. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just no telling who swatted them. There's a bunch of crazies on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
And if we don't think that's not true, we are not playing with a full deck ourselves. So there's
Mhm.
no telling who swatted those poor people. And I'm gonna have to say that like that because I don't know what these people do. How do they know what their grown ass son was doing out in Cali?
Yeah.
You don't know what your grown kids doing half the time anyway, especially with their states away from you.
That is for sure.
Yeah, they don't. I don't know what to make of these people until I know more about them. Um, as far as his parents go. I haven't seen police reports come out yet about his home life being messed up. Now, look, you can have a good home life and end up messed up. You can have a bad home life and end up being one of the greatest people on earth, or you could go either way. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys something. Actually, I got it over here. I'm not gonna. There's nothing really to play. So we knew that Stephen Stearns had gotten moved over to the Wakulla Annex, closer to Tallahassee, Florida, from down Central Florida way. We're all like, oh, it was like he's getting a cush, prison. How dare they? I'm like, hold on a second. They don't just move you willy nilly around Florida. There's usually a
Mhm.
reason. And apparently, he did not feel safe where he was at.
Oh.
I know. And I'm going to play something on the screen, guys. It's a screenshot, but I'm going to read it out loud. And it's because Plunder got. So we knew she was going to be putting together a video on Stearns. She got some FOIA requests from the prison, and I think she got some more from the county down there. Anyway, she's got a PDF put together. I think it's what did I say? A little over 100 pages long. But she said it was heavily redacted, so I'm not sure if I want to even get it. But she got some information in there. Okay, so he wrote, this is a thing that he wrote, and I'll read it to you guys because it might be hard to see. Um, it's a handwritten report from Stefan Stearns, and it said, I, Stefan Stearns, am in fear for my life,
Oh, Jesus.
safety due to the nature of my charges. Nature of his charges, and my high profile status. I have received numerous threats and have good reason for fear. I am therefore requesting protection. He requesting protection, so I think he got it.
Oh, boy.
This is a report that was in there, and this is from when he got his examination.
What?
Okay,
Mhm.
so medical documentation. Diagram of injury. I'm assuming he went to report he had an injury, and it says shows no injuries per medical staff. According to this protection request, Officer Turner interviewed inmate Stearns, and then they give you his number there for protection needs. Inmate Stearns states that he is in fear for his life for the redaction. For the what is the? It didn't name a person. It's a group. Inmate
Maybe
Stearns.
an assault on him
Mhm.
or attempted
Oh,
assault or
it's a
something.
gang. It's
Mm.
it's gonna end up being a gang. It's
Mm.
my that's my gut feeling. for his life of the redacted. Inmate Stearns states that he was made aware that the redacted placed a hit on him due to his charges. Now, remember the guy he was sharing his phone card with back at the
Mhm.
county?
Mhm.
There's indications that guy was already tied to a prison gang. Now we
That
own.
could be long enough to be Aryan Brotherhood,
Now
that redaction.
we
Mhm.
own you, Bubba. When you get to prison, we already own you. Okay, so he's in fear of his life of the redacted, and then he became aware that they placed a hit on him due to his charges. Inmate Stearns states that upon arriving at Appalachia, the inmates here began to threaten him due to his case being a high-profile case. Not for what you did to a baby. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
really.
seeing him on the news. Inmate Stern stated that he was advised if he does not get off the compound, he will be killed. Where's he supposed to go? Um, you better call you a Uber and get up out of here. Uh,
Yeah, that's Appalachia?
that's where he was at before at the intake
Uh-huh.
center. Um, Inmate Stearns voluntarily completed a form witness statement, I guess his own witness statement, uh, securing phone calls security phone calls were reviewed. Now I think she's requested those phone calls. um, okay, so the phone calls were reviewed during the investigation and no substantial evidence could be identified in this investigation. Inmate Stearns will remain in administrative confinement pending a review from the ICT. Conclusions: during the investigation process, I discovered inmate Stearns has no prior protection placement due to his prison term beginning on July 23rd, 2025. However, on July 25th, inmate Stearns was placed under investigation due to having a high profile case per CDC. It can be confirmed that inmate Stearns' case did make it to the national news. Inmate Stearns could not provide names for the inmates who threatened him due to being placed under protection the same day he arrived to Appalachia. So he was placed in protective custody in Appalachia. Then he's been moved since
Right.
then down here to close right outside of Tallahassee in Crawfordville, Florida.
Right, but this is related to what happened to him at Appalachia.
Yeah.
So I looked up prison gangs at Appalachia Correctional Facility.
Hmm.
They have Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings. That doesn't look long enough for Latin Kings, but then it goes on to say Gangster Disciples. It would be long enough for that. Um, so Bloods, Crips, Gangster Disciples, Latin Kings, and Vice Lords. Um, they do not mention Aryan Brotherhood, but yeah, Gangster
Of course.
Disciples would fit.
Well.
Aladdin King. No, Latin Kings.
Well, maybe he's got some vent people talking to him as well to
Mm.
keep him a little on his toes and in fear a little more. Stearns, we don't really care how much fear you live in. You're in
Oh, there's
prison.
MS-13 Trend Aragua.
MS-13 gang is pretty prevalent here.
Yeah, but that's too short. I mean, too long to
Mhm.
be them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
Mhm.
can see, and you can definitely tell it is a group of people he's talking about, not just an individual. Um, and prison gangs are in every prison across the country. Over there in Indiana, they got them Odinist prison gangs, but here in Florida, they just got prison gangs of all sorts of walks of life. So yeah, Stearns, I don't know, but they got him over in our Wakula compound now. And we looked at that when they first moved him over there. In fact, I went and made up an account so I can keep an eye on this. I ain't been back to visit it because I was like, what's kind of stuff's this guy got on his, what's mommy been ordering for him lately? Um, Also, there was a property receipt inventory from when he was transferred to the prisons. He had up to 40 books in his set. They said he was given some once he was finished with a book or two, he would donate them to the prison library. But could you imagine? He's like, I'm going to fix my cell up like a little smoking room, like a little library. Get all my little, what is all those books his mom bought him? The amagami, or how do you say that? Origami, whatever it is, all that
Oh,
stuff.
Tamagotchi.
No, that's the toys he liked. She was buying
Hmm.
him books on how to make the paper stuff. What you call that? Oh shoot,
Oh,
butterfly
origami.
origami books. Yeah,
Hmm.
he liked his origami books in the beginning. He made mom send him those. Um, it was obvious that he wanted the origami books because he didn't have his toys to play with anymore, his Tamagotchis and all that. I think he probably misses those really bad. I hope he does. Hope he sits there and misses his little toys and whatever. Whatever, Stearns. Stearns is very unsafe and unhappy. What did he expect, right? What did you expect, Bubba? Okay. Oh, and apparently his parents moved from the home where the torso doll was found.
Yeah. Did
Too many
anybody say where the new house is?
people know, but they're not saying. They're
Oh.
not, they're not putting it out there. Like they don't want the stalkers to go find them at their new house. But it's 2 hours away from where they originally lived, 2.5 hours away from Northport.
I wonder, did they move further away from him so that they don't have to visit or whatever so
Well, and see,
often?
that was the thing about him getting transferred down here closer to Tally.
Hmm.
Florida, normally, you'll go to your closest intake center from where your county jails are at. And we have one down here on our end. He didn't come here. He went to the Central Florida intake. So then once they filled you out to your home prison, they generally will keep you close to where your families are so it's easy for them to visit. So, and anybody I've ever known that's had a family member in prison, that was the case. So when they moved him further from the parents, I was like, what is this for? We got plenty of prisons to put him in. So I didn't quite get why they moved him so far away. I don't know. I think they might have moved before he even took the plea deal. They wouldn't have known where he was going to be filled it out to. So I don't know. I don't know why they decided to move to where they moved to. Who knows? Okay, so let me pull up this next piece before we're going to do the Idaho doc last because it's like a 14 pager. Okay, so most of you know that have followed the Ellen Greenberg case that there's a hot mess of a case going on there and has been for a very long time. And her parents have had to fight tooth and nail just to get anything done. They've had to go to the Supreme Court. They've had to spend tons of money on investigators and attorneys and all kind of stuff to help them through this. Then we learn of all the ties that Sam, her fiance, had in the community with his uncle and the higher ups. It's just a hot, hot mess. And was there a big cover up? Here we go again with the cover ups, right? Cases like Karen Reed really, really blur and messy up a situation for other legitimate cases. Idaho 4 really messed up and blurred what was happening in in Delphi, because everybody was so concerned about Koberger. We weren't going to take a look at that guy getting railroaded in Delphi. So now we have legitimate cover up problems in this case. Are people going to listen? That's my worry going forward with all cases. You can come out with all the noise and screaming and hollering you want to, and find yourself a year or two later sharing screenshots and voice messages and all these things to prove now what I knew was happening 2 years ago. That if you might come out and say it out loud, you might get come at, which is ridiculous. We got to start getting serious about this type of stuff. And when it's a real issue, talk about the real issue, not add in a bunch of fluff like, well, a bunch of heard, see, shed, see, he said, she said stuff and pictures and all. None of that matters if there's not facts behind any of it. And so cases like Ellen's will get lost in the shuffle because everybody's going to be, oh, you're just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. You turn around, scream bad cops all over the place. No, we don't. Not all of us. We got to get more, I don't know the right word to even use for it. I just felt like that a lot of the real issues get lost. Because if you come out here and tell me, hey, there's problems all in that Koberger case, but I haven't seen them, that's fine. Maybe I just don't see it. But you're not bringing a receipt. And then I come to you with a receipt and tell you, look at this mess in Delphi. You're like, yeah, but that guy confessed. Are we going to have any real conversations? That's what, I wonder sometimes. So I hope that eventually they can get to some conclusions in this woman's case, because I think all of us can agree there's no way in heck this lady stabbed herself all those times. There's just never a possibility.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's crazy for them to even come out and want people to think that, and then they'll try to discredit people who come out and speak otherwise. They'll take down your whole YouTube channel because you made a video that somebody didn't like somewhere.
To look forward to, found dead with 20 stab wounds in her own kitchen. Her parents refuse to believe she died by suicide. Their fight for justice raising confounding questions.
My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no! Oh no!
A broken latch, a pool of blood, and 20 knife wounds.
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabs herself?
Ellen Greenberg was
Oh, she stabbed herself?
Yeah, that's
Is that the proper
dumbest thing ever.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm making sure it wasn't just me.
No.
All right. Bizarre 911 operators. We're going to have to do a show about that one day.
found dead by her fiancé in the kitchen of their Philadelphia apartment in 2011. The medical examiner initially ruled the 27-year-old's death a homicide before switching to suicide.
Philadelphia is calling this a suicide just does not add up.
This is an unusual case because there were mistakes from the very beginning. I have investigated stabbing suicides in my career, but I've never seen anyone stab themselves in the back.
The case shut without further investigation, leaving more questions than answers.
What do you think happened to your daughter?
I don't know what happened to her. It's so painful and so crushing.
For 14 long years, her parents, Sandy and Josh Greenberg, have made it their life's work to fight to get their daughter's gruesome death fully investigated.
We haven't mourned.
It's been a long, layered process. It's like an onion. There's still more layers.
Their fight chronicled in a new docuseries by ABC News Studios, Death in Apartment 603. What happened to Ellen Greenberg?
It is our responsibility to Ellen to find out the truth.
Piecing together what may have happened that fateful night.
I think raising awareness of all of the inconsistencies and the flaws in the investigation was really the overarching goal.
Ellen's case, it feels like it transcends just a true crime.
Look how pretty she grew up. If you know, you know. Good morning, everybody just joining. Come on in.
Series for entertainment purposes, it feels like it could actually have some real world impacts and effects.
The series executive produced by actresses and sisters, Dakota and Elle Fanning.
We felt that it was very important to, if we could, be a part of getting answers for her family and ultimately her receiving the justice that she deserves.
Why should people watch this docuseries?
I think it's a case that it's been overlooked for too long, and so hopefully we can shed light on that story and also get to know beautiful Ellen.
It was January 26, 2011, and the city of Philadelphia was hunkering down amidst a snowstorm. Ellen, a school teacher, was working on her students' grades in the apartment she shared with her fiancé, Sam Goldberg.
What we know is Sam Goldberg left the apartment at approximately 4:50 p.m. Per him, Ellen is alive and well and in.
Oh, I think I know what you're asking me now. Do I know about the uncle judge, Sam, right? Sam's uncle? Yes, I do. That would be what I was mentioning a second ago about Sam knowing people in town. His uncle was a judge.
Inside of that apartment. He is gone for give or take 38 and a half to 40 minutes at the gym and the lobby area, which you can see on CCTV.
Sam says he goes back to their apartment to find it locked, latched from the inside. He texts Ellen multiple times to let him in, and after making trips to the front desk, he says he breaks down their front door.
Did y'all notice what those texts were saying? I'm pissed. I'm
Yeah.
pissed. You better have an excuse. What? No, honey, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Honey, are you there? No, I'm pissed. You better have an excuse. Dude, you are a classic. Mm, the so salty can cuss fun coming soon. Lordy, lordy. I can't with this guy. He always irritates me, and I find that very bizarre.
Has he done interviews?
No, I don't believe he has. it might it might
Yeah.
end up in a court document. We'll subpoena the whole podcast. Go
Mm-hmm.
go on Nancy Grace, dude. Let her poke at you and let you get mad and pop back, and then they can subpoena that, like Brooks Houck had happen to him. Nancy got the job done. She tried to do that when she, what was that? When she gave Seth Rogers a lie detector test.
Oh,
Didn't he fall
God.
asleep during that shit? Oh no, he passed
Something
out
like
on his
that.
muscle relaxers. Let me
Mm.
rephrase that. I'll say it again. Pass out on the muscle relaxers.
Where he finds Ellen slouched over on their kitchen floor.
Oh my God, she stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh no, her knife's sticking out.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Wait,
She
hold on.
stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Ellen had 20 knife wounds to her chest,
You
torso,
find it like
and the
that,
back of
and your automatic conclusion that you jump to is that she stabbed herself?
Yeah, that's brutal. That don't look like somebody stabbed themselves. And so
Mm.
what does he expect people to believe? This woman lost her shit in her apartment and just wah, 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 and even in her back. Like, I'm just going to go ballistic and lose it. That does not make any sense. If I'm going to lose it, I'm not stabbing up myself. I don't know what this man's thinking. That's
His
crazy.
911 call sounds so fake and staged.
Don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Happy says that he released one statement to CNN the beginning of this year, right before the ME retracted the suicide claim. Interesting. Okay.
her neck. She was pronounced dead at the scene.
After Sam spoke with the detectives, they believed that Ellen was experiencing mental health issues. So instead of investigating this, they call it a suicide on scene.
When this horrific event took place, the whole world kind of went dark for Josh and I.
We don't believe this was a suicide.
Right.
This is the farthest thing from our mind.
The day after Ellen's death, with the green light from police, the apartment was deep cleaned by professional crime scene cleaners. But then, the day after that, the medical examiner ruled her death a homicide. He also noted bruising.
Y'all remember that time Idaho wanted to go ahead and send the crime scene cleaners over to the Idaho house? They pull up and back in and get ready to start, and the judge says, "Hold up." Defense says, no, you can't do that. What is with that? Before discovery and all that, you know what I mean? I get it, this apartment, you want it clean. That's crazy. But yeah, Dolphin, the medical examiner finally ended up changing that after a lot of pressure was applied. Lots of pressure.
I don't doubt it. I mean, they were just trying to cover it up.
Mm-hmm. And it leads you to question, why would they? Because of the person that lived with her? What about her makes her death a need to cover it up? Because the man in the apartment is sus would be your only reason. She was a school teacher. She wasn't, she was a normal lady out living her life. So why would you need to cover up her death? Unless you did something nefarious.
On her body in various stages of healing, raising even more questions.
What were your interactions with the police like?
The communication was very lacking.
I found out that they had changed, that it was what we called a homicide through word of mouth. I don't know who told me, but it was before I did the eulogy.
So there's an interesting period where the police and the medical examiner actually clash, and they don't agree, which is unusual, and they clash publicly.
Police told me the scene was carried as a suicide that night because Sam had stayed on the scene and was cooperative. There were no signs of an intruder in the apartment, and Ellen didn't have any defensive wounds on her body.
Once the medical examiners ruled this a homicide, it's like, whoa, go back and investigate. Too late. We allowed the crime scene to be cleared. I'm not talking residential cleaners. I'm talking crime scene cleaners to come in and clean the crime scene.
Police never named any suspects. Weeks later, a shocking development. The medical examiner does a 180, publicly declaring Ellen's death a suicide. The decision came after a closed-door meeting with members of multiple agencies, including the police.
I was so devastated and so distraught.
Suicide is not a crime in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In other words, there is no investigation. They're done.
Her young students left grieving.
I couldn't believe it. I've never dealt with death before that.
I think Ellen was murdered.
And so, in your scenario, somebody got away with murder.
That's what I believe.
Years go by and Ellen's story starts to fade from public view until the Greenbergs meet a veteran state trooper turned private investigator named Tom Brennan.
He started reviewing things, and he took papers home and things we gave him that we had, and he came back and said, something's wrong here. This is not right.
After years of investigation, Tom felt it was time to go to the media. That's where the reporting by Stephanie Farr comes in, an investigative journalist with the Philadelphia Inquirer.
It was liberating. It was compelling. That was a monumental point in the journey of trying to figure out what happened in apartment 603.
It was extremely well read. It generated a ton of interest on social media, from reader emails, and also in the true crime community.
But what gets me is the physical evidence. She has stab wounds.
Her case has been plagued with investigative failures. If you're just beginning to play along,
the case took a very strange and unexpected turn.
That just do not seem to align with suicide.
And it really just sort of snowballs into eventually this lawsuit demanding that the city change their designation from suicide to either homicide or undetermined.
With Ellen's case gaining traction in the court of public opinion, the Greenbergs filed another lawsuit, alleging a conspiracy involving the medical examiner's office and the Philadelphia Police Department's deeply botched investigation.
Raise your right hand, please.
During the deposition, the original medical examiner on the case testified that the police gave him information that led him to believe Ellen died by suicide, including that the building security guard witnessed her fiancé, Sam Goldberg, breaking down the front door to find Ellen. But that claim later refuted by CCTV footage showing Sam going up to the apartment alone around that time.
There was a report that said I escorted Sam to the unit. When I learned that, I was really upset. I'm not allowed to leave the post other than for law enforcement. It's real simple.
In Sam's 2 interviews with investigators, he never expressly states that anyone was with him when he broke in. However, while the police report doesn't mention that anyone was with Sam, the medical examiner's report does. And that's the report that Dr. Osborne used to determine Ellen's manner of death.
Sam Goldberg did not respond to the producer's request for comment, but in his statement to CNN last December, he said in part, "When Ellen took her own life, it left me bewildered. Mental illness is very real and has many victims." And just this past February, another stunning development. Just as a judge cleared the way for the lawsuits to go to trial, the Greenbergs' attorney says the medical examiner struck a deal. According to court documents, Dr. Marlon Osborne signed a statement saying, "I have become aware of additional information. It is my professional opinion Ellen's manner of death should be designated as something other than suicide." Just days later, yet another bombshell. The city settling both lawsuits.
The Greenbergs settled with the city of Philadelphia, but part of that agreement was that the city would expeditiously reopen and re-examine the investigation.
Nearly 8 months after that settlement, the Greenbergs still don't know the outcome of that re-examination. Ellen's death is still classified as a suicide. Sandy and Josh say their fight is far from over.
I think one could only...
Now, would they just tell them, okay, we'll continue to investigate and then lie? What are they doing differently now that they weren't doing all those years ago, investigating Sam here? And why lie about the maintenance man, doorman escorting you back to the apartment? Why is that in the ME report? It's just weird. That's weird stuff.
Hope that their parents would fight for them as much as Sandy and Josh have. They have fought for justice for her every step, dedicated their lives from that moment on to fighting for their daughter who can't speak for herself anymore.
But some answers could be just weeks away.
On October 14th, we will learn what the city has found in their reinvestigation. Either Ellen's case could be determined a homicide, it could be determined undetermined. They might say, after all of the evidence put in front of them and time, that they're going to stick with suicide. If it is a homicide or undetermined, that could trigger a criminal investigation.
The Philadelphia Police Department, the medical examiner's office, the district attorney, the attorney general, and Dr. Marlon Osborne all declined to be interviewed and declined to comment for the series.
What does justice look like for Ellen in this case?
Not being labeled a suicide victim. Ellen could be your daughter. Ellen could be your sister. She could be your granddaughter. Everybody deserves fairness. Everyone deserves justice. That's what we want.
Death in Apartment 603. What Happened to Ellen Greenberg is streaming now on Hulu.
That's just a lot, and for her parents to have to go through all of that for so many years to try to get a straight answer. When all you have to do is look at the woman's photos and you can tell that did not occur, what they claimed occurred. How they could even think people would buy that and just go, oh, okay, cool, is so crazy. And so if you're determined you're a suicide death there's no investigation at all. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting docuseries, guys. I'm going to watch it later tonight. I'm going to jump in. Yeah, I'll take some notes as well, and we'll do some follow-ups now. So we should get a ruling coming up soon, or a determination made in the case if they're going to reopen, reclassify her death. I think they're going to catch a lot of heck if they don't reclassify her death. There's too many people have eyes on that case now. Too many experts have weighed in. Real experts that investigate, death investigators and things of that nature have weighed in. They're all like, what in the world is happening here? That makes no sense. But welcome in, Sirius Black, Jeremiah, everybody just joining us. Welcome on in. Rach, good to see you this morning. Carrie, welcome in. Welcome in. If I've missed anybody, I'm sorry about that, but we appreciate you guys being here and being a part of the conversation. That's what it's all about. If you didn't get in on the top of the show, you can go back and catch the beginning. I checked the Idaho docket, Dolphin, and I don't see anything new that's come down that got unsealed yet in the great unsealing. They had their deadlines and all that was set up. We know which set of documents will be coming up next, but nothing has come down yet as far as we can see. So, but like I said, we do have the ruling in Laramie, Chapins versus Idaho, city of Moscow, rather. And maybe with that, they will start. They've been steadily releasing body cams, but they've held off on a lot of this stuff. Once they get all this into place, let me get us off the screen so it's easier. There we go. Okay.
Cool. I held off on going to go look at this, so
okay. I just
I
glanced.
don't know what the verdict is.
I glanced through it. I kind of know, but I don't know, right? It's kind of like down the middle. So it's kind of what I expected, but I think there's some interesting things said in here. Let me get a drink, guys. 1 second. Actually, I need to take this goodie powder. I did a number on my back, and yesterday I made myself go for a walk because I knew I needed it. Well, I laid in my bed the other night, and I have this really cool little stainless steel massaging ball thingy, and I went to town and I may have got a little too deep on my deep tissue. Yeah, and it kind of had me out of whack yesterday. So body's a little sore today, but it's okay. I feel better because I did do all that, and then I made myself go for that walk yesterday. Like I found myself just sitting around way too much. Like I need to get up and move. So yeah, there you go. Hang on. Okay. And then I got a little aggravated because I see the activity way off at the edge of the field at the tree line at the woods. And I'm like, I know what these boys are up to. Damn it, man. So, of course, I had to get my Zoom on my phone because it's like a set of binoculars. They got their deer house back there. They're, they're shooting house. Like that's where my deer come out and feed, and I watch them. And if they hadn't been back, remember I told you they went away and they didn't come back because that
Yeah.
dude was back there doing stuff. Like they're not going to come. My daddy was like, "Them deer will come back." Like, yeah, but I don't want him to because I know what he's doing.
Mhm.
But par for the course around here. Sit out there and spy on the neighbors, putting up the shooting houses. Okay, here we go. I'm scaring off my deer, my spirit animal.
Oh, Jeremiah said he hopes you don't do the goody powders a lot.
Mind your business, Jeremiah. No,
I took mine with me to Asheville. I was like,
you're
I
talking to
just turned
two.
around and I was like, my box isn't behind me. Oh yeah, it's in my suitcase.
You're talking to two addicts right now, Jeremiah.
Uh,
No, I try not to. I know all the dangers, and I probably should take extra precautions. But yeah, it is what it is. But I do. Yeah, Jeremiah. I try not to. Okay, I'm trying to be good. Thank you for your concern. I do appreciate it. And you are right. We can't overdo it, right? Okay. All right, this is before the court on plaintiff's complaint for injunctive relief seeking to restrain and permanently enjoin the defendant, City of Moscow, known as the City, from releasing certain records related to the homicide of their family members pursuant to IRCP 65. Okay, background. On November 13, 2022, four University of Idaho students, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were tragically murdered in Moscow, Idaho. The events took place at 1122 King Road, a private home shared by Mogan, Gonzalez, and Kernodle. At the time of the murders, Chapin was staying at the residence with Kernodle. In the hours and days following the incidents, multiple law enforcement agencies partnered to investigate and process the crime scene. Among the first to respond was the Moscow Police Department. As part of the investigation, videos, photographs, reports, and other evidentiary materials were generated, which ultimately led to Brian Koberger's arrest. For a multitude of reasons. Oh, and by the way, Dolphin, I did pin these into the channel, so they're there.
oh, okay,
So we can
good.
keep up with it. Yeah, I did that last night. For a multiple reasons, the criminal case garnered worldwide interest in. Okay, sorry. Until July 2nd, 2025, the criminal case was pending trial, and until July 17th of 2025, a non-dissemination order was in place, which prevented the disclosure of certain records to preserve the parties' rights to a fair trial. On July 23rd of 2025, a judgment of conviction and commitment was entered concluding the criminal proceedings. Since July 23rd, sorry, I was looking around my desk for my lip stuff. I don't see it. Since July, I was like, my lips are dry. Where's my stuff? It's way
We were
over there.
like the same. I'm like, yeah, mine
Jesus.
was on the left side of my desk, and I took it with me.
Yeah, yeah, took it with me. I got to get
I'm
one for
like, I
the.
gotta put my stuff back.
I know. Normally I have two, so I don't have to do all that. But
hmm
oh well. Okay. Sorry, guys. I interrupted my own self. All right. Since July 23, 2025, the city has received over 1,150 public requests for information related to the criminal investigation, including but not limited to crime scene photographs, 911 calls, police reports, body camera footage, witness statements, autopsy reports, and MPD investigatory records. In response to the request, the city made redacted police reports available to the public via a web link and disclosed 186 photographs taken at the crime scene. some with blurring over the decedent's bodies. On August 11, 2025, the city provided copies of these photographs and certain redacted video to plaintiff's counsel and informed the counsel the city would be disclosing the redacted videos, including redacted body camera videos from MPD officers that depict the crime scene, as well as other materials within the coming days. Upon reviewing the photographs and video provided, plaintiff's counsel emailed a response to the city objecting to the release of any additional materials in the case because it would constitute a violation of the plaintiff's personal privacy. On August 12, 2025, Karen Laramie, Mogen's mother, filed this complaint for an injunction restraining the city of Moscow from releasing further images related to the homicide investigation of plaintiff's daughter. Along with her complaint, Laramie filed an ex parte motion for temporary restraining order under IRCP 65, following an in-camera review of 4 redacted body cam videos and approximately 181 photos, and an order granting plaintiff's motion for temporary restraining order, and temporary restraining order was issued on August 15th. That temporarily restrained the city from disclosing any images, audio, or video depicting the inside of Mogen's bedroom until a hearing on the preliminary or permanent injunction. On August 21st, the city released additional body cam videos and crime scene photographs that blacked out the bedrooms entirely in lieu of blurring the decedent's bodies. And remember the ones we were just reviewing, the whole door, that big black box. We hadn't reviewed them here, but I've seen them. On August 23rd, 2025, plaintiffs filed their first amended complaint, adding Stacy and James Chapin, Chapin's parents, and Maisie Chapin, Chapin's sister, as plaintiffs. Do you notice who's absent? He's like, y'all take it on. Y'all take it on. Plaintiffs seek a permanent injunction restraining the city from releasing images of the interior of victims' residence, images of the victims, whether blurred or not, images of the bedrooms where the victims were murdered, images of death scenes, murder scenes, including images of pools of blood and blood spatter and dried blood. Images of the personal property and images of the personal property and items of the victims of the homicides found inside the interior and exterior of the residence, including but not limited to containers of alcohol, underwear, ID cards, and other personal items. Images of witnesses, including witnesses hugging each other and sobbing. Video and audio media containing sounds. They just wanted.
Wait, what do they have to do with the witnesses hugging and each
I
other
know.
and sobbing?
Well,
other than Hunter and Maisie being in there.
Exactly, and they cited that in the original document that was also put in there as well. And I was like, wait a minute, what's that got to do with anything, right? Video, it sounds like they want all of it shut down, which under law is not going to happen. And I cannot wear my heart on my sleeve and come in here with a bunch of feelings saying, oh, she deserves to, because that affects all cases. And I believe in transparency. So I get the blurring of things, but you can't keep this from coming out. And I'm not saying that just because it's Idaho 4. Across the board, I'm going to feel that way. And again, I live in Florida where everything's up for grabs. So don't even come at me with this as a privacy issue. Some of it may be, most of it is not. Video and audio media containing sounds of witnesses, including sounds of them sobbing. Video and audio media containing statements of witnesses given to law enforcement officials, including statements evidencing their extreme emotions. We see a lot of this in a lot of cases, so it's normal. We see a lot of distraught individuals giving statements. It's normal. And mainstream media won't give it more than 5 or 10 minutes attention. They'll move on. On August 25, 2025, the parties submitted a stipulation to the parties submitting the matter for a decision on the permanent injunction based on the declarations, pleadings, and briefings on file. On August 28th, as hearing was held on the plaintiff's complaint via Zoom, attorney Linder James appeared on behalf of the plaintiffs. City of Moscow attorney Mia Batista, attorney and Andrew Pluskow, and attorney Bentley Stromberg appeared on behalf of the defendant of the City of Moscow. Following the hearing, go ahead.
One of the attorneys asked to leave, to be dismissed from this case or whatever. Did we ever find out which one it was?
From this
From this.
I don't know. Maybe was it one of the city attorneys?
Maybe.
She only had they only had because Linder James is Maddie's mother's attorney, and he appeared on behalf of the plaintiffs, so he's the only one. And then for the City of Moscow, you have Batista, Pluskow, and Stromberg.
And I think it was a male, so it's not. So if Leander is the Laramies and the Chapins, then you've got this woman and two males. I think it was a male.
Okay.
I think there's a document in there too.
Okay.
That's where I saw it. It was like I don't know, a week ago or
I'll
something.
have to check this the website where this one came. If it was filed in this case, to be on this file and not the Koberger's thingy. Okay, so they took the matter under advisement and amended temporary restraining any images, audio, or video depicting the incident Gonzalez and Coronado. Now, having considered the evidence, pleadings, and argument, the court issues the following memorandum decision granting in part plaintiff's complaint for a permanent injunction. When I say everything's up for grabs, you don't understand Florida sunshine laws, right? Go take a look at the document dumps you'll get on Stefan Stearns and the whole entire document dumps we got on Casey Anthony pre-trial. We see it all. They don't care. Florida's like, here you go. It's transparency. We, the people, have the right to review this material. We have the broadest laws in the country. Super easy to do FOIA requests. Not everybody has that. So they all adopted Sunshine Law, but they all adopted their own brand of the Sunshine Law. Some states give you a lot. Some states barely give you anything. We can't have that in America. We can't not have no transparency. It's dangerous if we go in with feelings and say, okay, well, this particular case is so sensitive, we need to redact all of this. Well, guess what? The next case is just as sensitive. I'm sorry, 2 little girls dead in the woods, 4 college students dead in a home, 1 lady stabbed to death in her apartment. I think they're all pretty bad. I just saw Ellen Greenberg's body on the floor with blood all around her. And we literally all just saw that together. So, anyway. So they address the permanent injunction. While Rule 65 addresses temporary restraining orders and preliminary injunctions, it only briefly addresses permanent injunctions by stating that before or after beginning the hearing on a motion for a prelim injunction, the court may advance the trial on the merits and consolidate it with a hearing. Here, the parties stipulated to essentially foregoing a hearing on a prelim injunction, instead submit the matter for a decision on the permanent injunction at the August 28th hearing. Unlike a temporary injunction, a permanent injunction is entered as at the resolution of the case and requires a showing of threatened or actual irreparable injury. Further, in order to deny a permanent injunction, the trial court must be persuaded that there is no reasonable expectation that the wrong will be repeated. And then they go into the Idaho Public Records Act. Promiscuous. Idaho Public Records Act. In accordance with the Idaho Public Records Act, there is a presumption that all public records in the state are open for inspection and otherwise provided by statute. So you can't just go in and change the law. The IPRA provides a statutory mechanism by which members of the public may review public records so they may be knowledgeable of the operations of their government, the performance of public officials, and the formulation of public policy. Amen?
Yeah, because old Bill Thompson would be out of a job if he weren't trying to seek retirement, you know?
For real. He'd be like, I
If
don't want to
I
do it.
lived there. Yep.
I don't want to talk anymore. There's nothing else to talk about. Fuck, excuse us. I got lots to talk about. I got a list of questions for you about your evasive white Elantra dude that y'all almost let slip away. Oh, that's right. They didn't know y'all were looking for that year. That's all that was. Nothing to see here. A public record is defined in any writing containing information related to the conduct or, and you know what? They couldn't even say out we goofed up because we didn't have the Ridge Road video yet and didn't hone in on the car year a little bit better. And we were super specific about our broad year we were looking for already. Yeah, WSU's like, no, that's not the same car. That was our bad. We're sorry. They didn't even do that. That bothers me to this day. Insulting my intelligence with your sideways bullshit. A public record is, and I wonder how much did this guy even look at Xana's sister sideways? Everybody was reporting the girl was there. Koberger still roaming around campus all willy nilly. Was he watching her thinking, bigger statement to be made? Fuck shit. All right. Public record is defined by or as any writing containing information related to the conduct or administration of the public's business prepared, owned, used, and retained by any state agency, independent, public, corporate, and political, or I can't read this morning, and politic or local agency, regardless of physical form characteristics. Every person has a right to examine and take a copy of such public records. The motivation of the person requesting the public record is irrelevant.
I like how they said that that's the public's business, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Mm.
And you can't worry about the person's motives who are requesting it. You can't control the world. And so that's irrelevant. The public's right, because we know there's going to be those that run sideways and some that just come out and go, here you go. The public's right, and consequently any individual person's rights to inspect a public record is conditioned solely on whether the document is a public record that is not expressly exempted by statute. And then, of course, they cite a case over that. Internal quotation marks and citation omitted. Okay. Specific to this case, law enforcement investigatory records are public records. Investigatory records means information with respect to an identifiable person, group, or persons or entities compiled by a public agency pursuant to its statutory authority in the course of the investigation of specific act, omission, failure to act, or other conduct over which the public agency has a regulatory authority or law enforcement authority. Specific to the case for law enforcement. Okay. Generally, investigatory records are defined as IC 74-101, are subject to disclosure under the Idaho Public Records Act. When a request to examine is made, the public agency or custodian has a specific time in which to review the record and grant or deny the request. There are certain expectations to disclosure as enumerated in IC 74 through 124 that justify a public agency denying a request. One exception is where a production of records would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. An unwarranted invasion of personal privacy means disclosure of information used to identify, locate, or harass a juvenile, a victim of an alleged crime or mass violence or domestic violence, or a victim of physical or sexual abuse. None of our victims qualify for that. I mean, mass violence. I mean, are we talking mass shootings or four people in a house? Disclosure where release of information is likely to violate legitimate and substantial privacy interests of the person identified when such interests are weighed against the general public information. The parties agree that the records to be disclosed in this matter are public records and more specifically law enforcement investigatory records. The inquiry for the court is whether the specific records are exempt from disclosure, such that the city should be restrained from releasing them to the public or any specific requester. Plaintiffs argue disclosure of the public records, specifically the photographs, audio, and video created by law enforcement at the crime scene or decedent's residence, would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Therefore, the city's disclosure would violate IC 74 through 124. On the contrary, the city argues the records are not exempt from disclosure because plaintiffs do not have standing authority to assert a privacy interest either on behalf of themselves or on behalf of the decedents. And if plaintiffs can establish a privacy interest, that the interest is not outweighed by the public's interest of disclosure. Hey, Witchy, welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, in Florida, you won't get a child's autopsy anymore. The Gannon Stock case took care of that. Isn't that right, Zav girl? You won't get Maddie Soto's. We know the cause of death, but you will not get the physical report ever anywhere in Florida because she's a minor. It was born out of what happened to Gavin and his autopsy photos and reports being sold for money. Strange what people will sell for money.
Yeah, I mean, the photos I can see, the report, I don't really see a problem with that, even if it is
I,
still a minor,
I, I don't see problems with reports.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to redact some things, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because that written report is important.
Yeah.
And it's part of the record. Like we can't go out and control the world, and I can't, if I sat here and read it and tried to do it in a way with integrity and just bring
Mm-hmm.
out the facts versus that slanderous way. When we unpacked Madeline Soto's case, there was so much sensitive stuff to talk about
Right.
that you had to talk about because it's part of the case.
Plus, it's going to be discussed in court, and
Right.
the details of the autopsies will come out in court. The
Exactly.
photos will be redacted.
Right. And I can understand where these families are coming from with their heartbreak, but like I said in the beginning, because I've lost a child, I've not lost one to a brutal murder, but I know how it feels. It's gut wrenching. Nothing will ever make it better. But it might have been the best option to avoid the media at all costs, knowing they were about to come out, versus having it on in the background while you're making dinner or having coffee or whatever, and it pops up on the screen and it's going to take you by. It would be devastating. I understand that. And I don't have a problem with them redacting or blurring a body either. And no, I'm not that one who I know I gotta see that sheath to know it was there. I know it was there, but it's part of the record. Depending on where that sheath was found, how hard would it to be to blur out the blood around the sheath, right? That's it's going to be there. But you can also remove the body from the bed, and that sheath allegedly is still going to be there because it was partially under your victim. So, okay, show me the redacted photo of her on the bed, and now you've moved her. Now show me an unredacted body, a photo of the bed. People are still going to run wild with their sheath theories. That's not it. They got to figure out how to do it and do it properly by law, because you can't just, and if it's too close to her body and under it, are you going to see it anyway? You know what I mean? Until the body's moved. Shit. Who knows? We'll never see the unredacted version. They're never going to let us see that. Um, Plaintiffs have standing to assert a privacy interest in the records to be disclosed. First, the court must determine what privacy interest, if any, the plaintiffs have in the law enforcement records they seek to keep from public disclosure. To determine this, the court must look to the language of the statute and the case which interpret what constitutes as unwarranted invasion of personal information, personal privacy. To begin, the IPRA defines an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy as either disclosure of information used to identify, locate, harass a victim of an alleged crime or mass violence. So that won't be happening with any of that.
Nope.
Nobody lives there anymore, and there's nothing to.
There's no there there
There's no
anymore.
there, right?
Mhm.
Or disclosure where release of information is likely to violate legitimate and substantial privacy interests of the person identified. And there's nothing that pertains there, not even to the witnesses standing outside hugging each other. Interest weighed and gained against. They put themselves out there on what Dateline, Amazon Prime. So that's not Peacock. Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm here for watching them talk, but so yeah, I don't, good. I don't know. I feel some kind of way about this. Plaintiffs argue the plain language of the statute confers standing for them to bring this action because the information being disclosed depicts the victims' bodies, which identifies the victims and may be used to harass the family members who are considered victims. Lord, I pray no idiots out there would do that. But they're already harassing. If they were going to harass families, they're already doing it. If they were going to continue no matter what. I'm saying if a family member is legitimately being harassed by a weirdo, report. I report them each and every time. The Victims' Rights Statute specifically defines victim as an individual who suffers direct or threatened physical, financial, or emotional harm as the result of the commission of a crime. Further, plaintiffs argue the language privacy interest of the person identified is the person who identifies as having their privacy interest violated. Contrarily, the city argues that because the privacy interest of the family members is not specifically mentioned in the statute, the legislature did not intend for such to exist under IC 74 through 124. Moreover, the legislature specifically defined the privacy interest of any deceased person when disclosure of certain information is permitted after notification to the next of kin, but opted not to include the same definition in 17A. The city acknowledges in drafting this provision that the legislature recognized privacy interests do not evaporate on death, yet argues because it did not include the same language in 17A, such provision does not grant plaintiffs standing to assert privacy interests on behalf of the decedents, unless a probate is opened and they are serving in yeah, I could see that, right?
That's what the one male attorney for the city said if they were arguing on behalf of the estate of
Right.
Madison Mogen, and
Yeah.
Ethan Chapin.
Yep. All right. And of course, they had nothing.
I mean, it's too late though. I mean, because seriously, the photos are out, with the blurred images, and everything. It's too late. They can't undo that. So this, to me, is just a waste of time. Because anybody who's going to do anything weird, manipulate the images, send them to the families or whatever, they already have an opportunity to do that now.
Oh yeah. And when they first came out, the photos were blurred. And then when the body cams video they spoke of, I've seen the ones that they have now. When they released those, they put a whole entire black box over the bedroom doors. That was released after this suit was filed. They know there's no stopping this stuff from coming under the current law. So the city can literally get sued by others but not as long as the injunction was in place, right? But so they're doing that dance of what, let's get it out there, but we also gotta, you know, do it the best way we can. So the the city believes that it struck the appropriate balance in balancing the plaintiff's privacy of the interest and informed citizenry. The city, the city's actions in blurring certain portions of the investigatory records prior to disclosure and balancing plaintiffs and the public's interest cut against its standing argument, well knowing that the presumption under or IPRA is full disclosure. When asked why it took affirmative action to blur or redact the initial disclosure prior to any court intervention, the city responded that it did so in reliance upon the exemption under IC 74 through 124, thus agreeing that if plaintiffs had no privacy interest to assert on their own behalf or on behalf of the decedents, it would have been unnecessary to blur or redact. So you're all mad at them because they attempted to. Under a statutory obligation, it was required by, I feel like I need some salad dressing to go with this big word salad I just read. It was required by law to disclose investigatory records on request with such redactions. While plaintiffs are considered victims and afforded certain rights as set forth in the IC Code, court finds the code does not have application in this particular case. The information to be disclosed is not being used to identify, locate, or harass a victim of an alleged crime of mass violence. There is no alleged suspect or unproven crime. The victims are known, located, and the murderer has been convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. Likewise, disclosure is not being used to harass the victim, even if the term victim encompasses family members. However, Idaho Code does apply here and provides standing for plaintiffs to assert their claim. The Idaho Supreme Court has yet to address the issue of whose privacy interest is protected under the Idaho Code. But cases from the U.S. Supreme Court have interpreted a similar provision under the Federal Freedom of Information Act, under the FOIA. Provide guidance. Under FOIA, a public agency shall make records available except records or information compiled for law enforcement purposes that could reasonably be expected to constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. However, unlike their financials, right, that came back in a search warrant return, do we need to see all of it? No. But if it's pertinent to the case, yeah. A public agency shall make records available except records or information compiled for law enforcement purposes that could reasonably be expected to constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. However, unlike IPRA, there is no definition of unwarranted invasion of personal privacy within FOIA's statutory scheme. Instead, I love the way they always use the term scheme and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, why? We pray the court finds, and their scheme that, like, what, y'all are shady language y'all have there in your court docs. Instead, leaving the issue of whose privacy interests may be asserted or protected to federal courts to interpret. Of interest in National Archives and what is this? Another case, a Supreme Court case at Favish. The Supreme Court held that FOIA recognizes surviving family members' rights to personal privacy with respect to their close relatives' death scene images. So that must have been a case brought on by family members regarding death scene images. And they cite all that. In that case, the decedent's family members sought to be shielded by the exemption to secure their own refuge from a sensation-seeking culture for their own peace of mind and tranquility, not for the sake of the deceased reputation or an interest personal to the decedent. That's blunt. Even so, the court held, we think it proper to conclude the Congress's use of the term personal privacy, that it intended to permit family members to assert their own privacy rights against public intrusions, long deemed impermissible under the common law and in our cultural traditions. This does not mean that the family is in the same position as the individual who is the subject of the disclosure. We have little difficulty. However, in finding our case law and traditions, the right of the family members to direct and control disposition of the body of the decedents, to limit attempts to exploit pictures of the families of the decedents' family members, remain for public purposes. Family members have a personal stake in honoring and mourning their death and objecting to unwarranted public exploitation that, by including upon their own grief, tends to degrade the rights and respect they seek to So, with all that said, the people who are going to run wild with just the craziness is not going to be the few minutes of mainstream media coverage about the case. I don't think the families are going to be consuming court TV at the end of the day. They might, and they're not on social media consuming all things Brian Koberg or Idaho 4. So they're going to be limited as what they're seeing to start with. Some family members are out there seeking it out all day, every day. They just need to know that's just them. But it's not like, so I hope they understand it's hard to, such a sensitive subject, right? I know under law this stuff has to come out, but what kind of advice could I offer this family? I don't know, except avoid the media for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, what you said in the very beginning.
Yeah,
Stay
that's all
off
you
the
can do.
internet.
I would have to do it if it was my family,
Mhm.
because I'd be wanting to engage. Screw you, you know? How dare you say that? Don't let me on YouTube if something happens to one of my family members. Oh my God. But yeah, you shouldn't, don't subject yourself to it. It's like the people who get mad here about the YouTube streets. It's so and so the pro burgers. What? Don't go consume it, and then you don't get the headache, and then the blood pressure doesn't shoot up, and then you don't get the anxiety and can't figure out why you're mad in an hour because you fell down that weird rabbit hole for no reason. So same thing with the families. They just need to ignore it for a hot minute until things cool down. There's a gonna Once all the photos are out there, they're going to be out, and people will move through them. And the only ones that are going to really unpack that kind of stuff is true crime channels and people. And I won't be made to feel bad if I go through documents, photos, and things of that nature that are coming down. That's what I do here with all the cases. So why would I avoid it in this case? Because people's got their feelings today. I will do it with sensitivity, right? I'll try to do it with integrity and to the best of my abilities and all the things that come with that. But it's unavoidable. It's just unavoidable. Okay. Further, while not controlling, a district court in Ada County also concluded the family members of a deceased person have a right to avoid public disclosure of their deceased family member's corpse and the death scene images that would impugn the character of the deceased or of the family's memory of the deceased. I was about to
Oh,
say
that's
what
impugn.
impugned. Thank you. I was like, I knew it was impugned. Like, why couldn't I say it all of a sudden? Like, impugned. All right. I was wondering what case they were going to cite about that. So, a deceased or family member's memory of the deceased. See Gaylord versus Clifford, an Ada County case. A memorandum was handed down just this year on that. That's interesting. Here, plaintiffs seek relief for both their own privacy and on behalf of decedents, whether the privacy interests of the person identified as the decedent or the family members of the decedent. Plaintiffs have established a recognized privacy interest in preventing disclosure of images or videos depicting their deceased family members and the death scene that would impugn the character of the decedents or their memory of them. Their plaintiffs, having standing under IC code, bring this claim. Plaintiffs have proven their privacy interest is preventing disclosure of certain investigatory records without additional redactions outweighs the public's interest in disclosure. Having established plaintiff's standing to bring this claim, the next inquiry is whether the interest outweighs the public's interest in disclosure. And they cite the Favish case again on this. Our ruling that the personal privacy extended by examiner exemption 7C extends to family members who object to the disclosure of graphic details surrounding the relative's death scene does not end the case. Although the privacy interest is within the terms of the exemption, the statute directs non-disclosure only where the information could be reasonably expected to constitute an unwarranted invasion of the family's personal privacy. The unwarranted requires us to balance the family's privacy interest against the public interest in disclosure.
I'm
Therefore,
sorry.
go ahead.
The family members, right to privacy. Scroll back up. It said disclosing the family members.
Uh-huh.
Just a little bit, a couple lines, like their privacy interest,
Yep.
the family's personal privacy. This is a public case. This was a public trial. So, regardless of what they're trying to do here, their quote unquote family's personal privacy was going to be blasted all over, the globe or whatever, because this was a public trial,
Mm-hmm.
and even if it hadn't been, streamed, it's still a public case.
So how well did Bill Thompson prepare these families for that upcoming trial?
I don't know.
Did he not warn them that this is all going to come out? All of these
Yeah.
photos will be shown daily. For some reason, Stacy Chapin understood that.
I don't
What they
even
were
know how she got into this, you know?
Well, I think she's probably talked to Karen off and on throughout time because the kind of women they appear to be. I
Right.
can see them having conversations, but maybe not like best friends.
Mhm.
So I don't know why they joined in on it. I really can't. They've
Yeah,
not
because
said
she's been very hands off. Like whatever's going to happen happens.
happens.
It's not going to bring Ethan back. There's nothing that
I
we
think
can do.
Stacy. Okay, here's my take on
Mhm.
Stacy Chapin, and this has been just my evaluation of what she's been doing since this tragedy occurred.
Mhm.
Um, she's going to become an activist. She's
Mhm.
already working with the lady from Othram. They're setting up foundations.
Oh yeah, middleman.
The middleman. She's got the foundation going with what's the little girl's name that was on the lease but didn't live there at the time of the
Oh,
killings?
Ashland Couch.
Ashlyn's mom.
Mhm.
She has that going with Ashlyn's mom. She goes to Crime Con now 2 years running, 3 years running, 2 years. And I have no problems with any of it. You want to go out there and fight
Right.
the good fight, ma'am, you take it on. You take it on.
Mhm.
You absolutely have the right to do it. So I don't know if this is going to be like a stance kind of thing. We have
This is
rights.
a contradiction to all of that, though.
Exactly. It certainly is.
And I just
It
don't
really
see how
is.
she got dragged into this.
I
I
don't know.
understand Karen Laramie, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um
I don't know if Stacy reached out to her
Mhm.
once this was filed or if Karen reached out to all the families offering,
Mhm.
"This is what I'm gonna do. If you wanna join, you're welcome." That's an interesting, um, conversation to have been around for to figure that part out, but yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know how the Chapins ended up in it, and why nobody else did.
Yeah.
Nobody else there's 2 other family members here that did not join this lawsuit.
Mhm.
And Santa's room was the one where the, blue powder was on the dresser, so her daddy had he's not.
Mhm, and her mom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly, that so we have another individual that Kara could have also joined if they would allowed Kara any knowledge of what they were doing.
Mhm.
And I have to say, from outside looking in, observing from afar, it appears that Kara's doing quite well these days.
Mhm.
So, more power to you, Kara, if you can keep it up, girl. If that's really true, Keep it up, because from what I seen, 2 years ago, Dolphin, a year and a half ago, Hot Mess Express was
Oh
exploited.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see that happening. So maybe she's just distancing herself from all this and doing what and staying off the social media stuff. I don't know. Hopefully she's not watching the clown anymore.
Mm.
All
Yeah.
right. But the clown said this. Oh boy. Therefore, the weighty privacy interest family members have in death scene images of close relatives must be weighed against the public interest in disclosure to determine if disclosure would result in an unwarranted invasion of privacy. There can be no doubt that the photographs, video, audio, and other investigatory records in this case are incredibly disturbing. The records are difficult to digest and provide a raw view into the horrific tragedy that occurred on November 13th, 2022. And damn if it don't. Like, you couldn't sum that up better. I mean, and we unpack a lot of what happened in cases. I read all the disgusting things that Hurman did and BTK.
Yeah, I need to dig into human stuff.
We're going to be doing a show soon.
Oh,
We've
okay.
already done, yeah, we did a big members only like a long time ago that was got a lot of stuff packed in it, but we're going to be doing a big update because I'm interested the DNA stuff that's coming into play. I kind of deep dove it a week ago. Yeah, so it's on the shelf. We got that coming, and I'd love for you to be a part of that.
Okay. I really do hope that Judge Marshall here ends up basically deciding that what the city did was,
Yeah,
like
it
good
was proper.
enough. Was proper,
Mhm.
exactly. Blurring, the images of the body, but like everything else can be shown,
Yeah,
because there's nothing in
exactly.
those rooms.
Nothing.
I mean, yeah.
The blood is going to be there. We see blood all the time. Um, Clothing strung about. So,
I mean, that's everybody, has lived that life before when they were that age.
exactly.
So there's
Now,
nothing, shocking in these rooms.
well, probably depends on what YouTube
I
stream
mean,
you're
the
watching.
external stuff, not the
Right,
bodies,
right. To
the
us, to the average person that has a brain,
Mhm.
you are absolutely right. But you go tune into some of those crazy YouTube street streams, and they're going to be zooming in on what's on the girls' dressers. But they said earlier in the document, we can't go by what their motives are for obtaining this stuff. Once they get it,
Mhm.
what they do with it is don't go watch it. That's all I can
Yeah.
say. That's all I can say to them. But you're right. Um, you're right.
I just, you know what, maybe one of the things that they're imagining is that, especially now that AI is what it is becoming, you know
Yeah,
what I mean, that somebody can animate them in the rooms and
yeah,
send them some video clips or whatever with their, deceased loved ones, like body animated or whatever. But the
right.
bodies are blurred. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know.
I,
Hell,
I,
if
I
somebody really wanted to do something like that, they could take their face and put it on something else,
right.
and send it to them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you can't, I mean, I don't know, people. I'm not down with that AI. I'm not even down with the AI Coburger stuff. I'm like, I
Mhm.
got tons of pictures of Coburger. I don't need to go create myself one on
I know,
that
it's just
AI person.
creepy.
Like weirdo stuff. It's kind of like the
Mhm.
swatting. Like, what is wrong with you people? Find something better to do. Go sit outside and touch grass. Jesus. Prior to releasing these records, the city took measures to blur the decedent's bodies to prevent an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy, while balancing the public's interest to comply with its statutory obligation. The plaintiffs have recognized privacy interests, but on balance, the public has an interest in the investigatory records concerning this horrific tragedy and how the investigation was conducted. Oh, amen. I got another investigation to unpack to see how it was conducted, and it's Delphi, and it ain't looking pretty. Regarding each set of investigatory records identified by, can we trust them documents? Shit. Regarding each set of investigatory records identified by plaintiffs in their complaint, their interests must be weighed against the public's to determine whether the release would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy, not just a warranted one. Plaintiff's privacy interest is preventing disclosure of the death scene images that would impugn the character of the deceased. The character of the
See,
deceased.
that's what I'm saying. There's nothing
Yeah,
bad in those rooms.
yeah,
It's not like somebody has a crack pipe on the dresser or whatever, whatever.
exactly.
Or,
Or in
you
their
know,
mouth,
I don't
or
know,
in
their
yeah,
video cam, set up in the corner or something. I
yeah.
mean,
That's not a character. Uh,
what's in the rooms is going to impugn their character?
but the death scene images, it says, would impugn their character. So, like that, even the bodies on the bed. I mean, I get it. You don't want to see it, but that's you're not going to get away with that wording. Um, or plaintiff's memory of them continue to re-traumatize them, causing extreme emotional distress outweighs the public's interest. Man,
Consider yourself traumatized already for the rest of your life, no
the day
matter
you
what
got that
happens,
call,
you know?
that was the most traumatizing day, and I understand that re-traumatization because you're gonna relive a lot of things
Mhm.
over the next 20 years,
Mhm.
and I'm saying that because I know it's a journey for everybody, it's different. That stages come at different times, but mark my words, every 10 years, you're gonna have a new reckoning. Alright? So, they haven't even gotten to a point where they can truly try to move on because of all of this. The trial is coming and all the things. It still would have been a hot minute. We'd be at trial right now if mother hadn't have caused a plea deal. So we'd be at trial right now unpacking all of this hot and heavy every day. She just needs to take a minute and get away from it all. I would just turn it all off is the best advice I can give them. Let it all go away. Make it go away in your head and just focus on your daughter and what was and not what there's just a lot of emotions they're going to go through. And unpacking this, I can imagine is re-traumatizing over and over and over, but don't I just know they're not out here consuming it for the fun of it. They're just, "Oh, let me go
Yeah.
see what YouTube's saying today about this Idaho 4 case." They're not doing that. In mainstream media, honestly, your local news in the evening or whatever the heck you watch, CNN,
Mhm.
wherever you get it, what, you're gonna get a 10-minute report, or you might watch a half-hour show, but if you're us, true crimers, we're on YouTube consuming it 'cause that's what we do. Even the city's action is performing certain redactions support this conclusion. There is little to be gained by the public in seeing the decedent's bodies, the blood-soaked sheets. Well, we saw them the day y'all threw them on back of a couple of pickup trucks. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't do that to the families. The cops did. Let's get that straight right here, right now. We didn't do it. We got pictures. We got proof. Bloody mattresses with sheets still on them, tossed on the back of a flatbed pickup truck. Looked like a cop just backed his truck up there and load them up, boys.
Yeah, and those fools didn't even have sense to cover it with something dark?
Nope, nothing. What, y'all didn't pull up your fancy little U-Haul all the way to the door and do it discreetly? No, we didn't even do that. We're going to haul all their belongings out on national television for the families to sit home and consume tonight on the news. Houston, we have a freaking problem. And it ain't social media. Well, it is, but it ain't. All right. Ugh. They're going to make me mad today, and I'm even trying to get mad. Frustrate me. All right. Dissemination of these images across the internet and in public spheres where plaintiffs may come upon them may be happenstance, as has already occurred, causing them extreme emotional distress and unwarranted invasion of privacy. I'm hoping y'all aren't trolling the Facebook groups either. Good God, stay out of that place. Don't go to the TikTok either. The city has blurred certain portions of the investigatory records, but additional redactions are necessary to ensure there is no unwarranted invasion. The blurring is simply insufficient. Insufficient? As it still allows the viewer to see the outline and contours of the decedent's bodies and invites rather than and invites rather than dispels any speculation about how, where, or why. That, oh God,
Yeah. Mhm.
girl, girl. I feel like I needed to medicate myself.
Mhm.
Mm. Because don't make me go down that rabbit hole conspiracy freak train and say, well, no murders occurred in that house because you can't produce me a body on the bed, even the damn outline.
I
Giving me a
mean,
break.
black out the whole room and, you're still gonna get speculation and people coming up with their theories or
It
whatever,
doesn't
who was
exactly.
where and all that, so
It doesn't
it
matter what you
doesn't
do.
matter. Mhm.
No, it doesn't matter. Give them a blurred image, give them a whole entire blacked out room. Either way, it's going to have the same end result. But you can't. This language they're using is ridiculous. Is in the if I'm the judge, I'm like, man, please somebody bring me a damn argument that I can get behind. The fact remains the murder investigation and the criminal case are closed. Releasing these records will have minor effect upon those who continue to be perplexed by the facts or fixated on unfounded conspiracies, where it has and will continue to have profound effect upon the decedent's loved ones. Exactly. Those who are perplexed and fixated in unfounded conspiracies. Crazy talk. The city may disclose the investigatory records in this matter, must be but must black out any areas within the images, photographs, video, or other media that depict any portion of the decedents or their bodies and the blood immediately surrounding them. So they'll put a whole black box over the bodies and blood. But that we understand from with the reports we've read, the blood is contained close to the bodies anyway, or
Mhm.
pools of blood. Um, Contrarily, the court cannot find plaintiff's privacy interest outweighs the public's interest concerning the dissemination of audio, video, or photographs depicting the interior of the bedrooms, except as provided above. The exterior or interior, including rooms other than the bedrooms of the residents. The personal property and items of the decedents found inside the interior or exterior of the residence, including but not limited to alcohol containers, underwear, ID cards, and personal items. Witnesses, including audio of crying or statements of witnesses given to law enforcement officials, including statements evidencing their extreme emotions despite the horrendous nature of this tragic event and its distressing dissemination across the world. The fact remains it is a quadruple homicide with
Yep.
investigatory records.
Come on,
These
bring it on
records,
home, Megan.
yes, ma'am. She's like, I signed the original dissemination order because that damn attorney over there wanted me to. And look what it caused. It wreaked havoc upon a nation. Ah, she's probably regretting that whole decision.
Mhm.
She's like, damn, I should have been like Florida and been like, nope, denied. Instead, she almost had Indiana on her hands. These records, much like many law enforcement investigatory records, invade the privacy province of individuals, including suspects, witnesses, victims, and the like, and here plaintiffs and others are unnamed in this lawsuit. However, these records are precisely what the law affords the public to obtain under the IPRA. Under the law and facts presented, the court cannot find the plaintiff's privacy interest outweighs the public's interest regarding these items, such that their release would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy.
Oh, thank
Further,
goodness.
yeah. Further, releasing images that include alcohol containers, underwear, ID cards, or other personal items of the decedents may appear embarrassing or reveal speculation as to what may or may not have occurred within the residence, but it does not impugn the character of the decedents in a way that constitutes an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy.
You know what? I just thought about something.
What's that?
Do you think that the Chapins jumped on board to this because they didn't want the world to know their son was butt naked in Xana's bed?
With blue powder on the dresser?
Well, you know, and like
Yeah.
that's his underwear
Well,
and
what?
stuff that's on the floor right there at the foot of the
Well,
bed
Jesus Christ!
and his clothes.
What did they expect that boy was doing with that girl?
They said he practically lived there, you know?
Yeah, by all accounts. And the Chapins know it.
Mhm.
Well, they expect we don't know what they're doing in the bedroom? Come on. Come
Maybe they
on,
just didn't
Stacy.
want the world to know that, Ethan was out there like that or whatever. I mean, he was doing what all
Yeah,
kids do, so when they go away
exactly.
to college. So,
That's the
yeah.
worst thing Ethan was doing was getting naked in this girl's bed. Hey,
Mhm.
that's the worst he was doing. Thank goodness, right?
Mhm. I mean, but the
It,
fact that they keep
but
mentioning underwear and I'm like, yeah, okay. They must be are they talking about his?
I
No.
don't know whose underwear. There was Maddie's clothes were laying in the floor. There were clothes in the bathroom.
Mhm.
There was some articles of stuff around Xana's room because Xana's room was so heavily with her, there it was redacted somewhat, but the dressers were the main stuff you saw there.
Mhm.
And Ethan on the bed, there was a clothing item or so, no, I don't know what the hell underwear was it. And the other also wanted, the alcohol.
I
It,
mean, what do you
come
expect? They were right
on,
there practically on fraternity row.
yeah. Everybody'd already reported the party house. There was before like early on in the case, what we had 2 to 3 body cams of cops going to the house
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
loud parties, 150 people at a time. On one occasion, Xana comes to the door. You can watch the entire interaction. Poor Xana, she's just ready to go to bed. Got
Right.
her vape. I'm gonna eat and I'm going to bed. That's Xana. I'm gonna eat and I'm going to bed. Nothing to see here, officer.
Yeah.
And the other time the cops go, nobody's there that lives there. They have to call Maddie on the telephone.
Mhm.
Nobody's there that lives there, but the house was full of people. Very concerning. The other time they go to the back door, broad daylight, Kaylee and Hunter J come outside.
Mhm.
Noise complaint, right? So we know it was a party house. I expect a beer pong table. Back in the day, we played quarters.
Mhm.
Sometimes in the woods, we make a makeshift table. Watch us go. It depends on our where we was at that weekend, what we were doing. It was
Yeah.
normal. So yeah, it may be embarrassing, like she said, but to who? You know, and of course, think about it. When you die,
Mhm.
anybody can walk into your life now and look through
Oh,
your
it's yeah, pretty
thing.
fair game. Mhm.
Exact Of course, it's gonna be your close family member or friend, so go make sure now when we get off the stream today, go make sure you got all your stuff in order and all your secrets are burned and gone if you don't want nobody to find them, because somebody's gonna find them. And of course, it's like you have your vulnerability is you're out there, you're exposed once you're gone. And I
Mhm.
can see that kind of personal privacy for the decedents, but there's not a lot in these images that are for normal people aren't taking this stuff apart like that. I might see
Mm.
something and go, "That's interesting. What is that?" But that, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if maybe they just had, put the kids out as like, nice, wholesome Christian kids, da
Mhm.
da da da, in the Chapin
Oh, of
family. And
course.
then you've got Ethan,
I agree.
over here, quote unquote, living in sin,
I
in this
agree with
house full of
that.
females, or whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe that's what, because Stacy Chapin definitely seems like a woman who's concerned about appearances. She reminds
Oh,
me of my
she
mother.
is. I know.
So, mhm.
Mhm, and we've had that discussion before because back
Yep.
when people were tearing her apart for not being like the Gonzalez's, I
Mhm.
support Stacey Chapin.
Oh, sure
Let's not
do.
Yeah, and Dolphin and I both do, so let's not get it twisted, but we also saw an image that was important.
Mhm.
And we can say that because we can look at it without getting tunnel vision or wearing our feelings, right? So
Yeah.
if we take our me and Dolphin are good about what feelings, we
Yeah.
can. I'm not even sure if we have those.
I know half the times people will probably be like, "Oh, you guys are a couple of cold bitches," you know?
I know, right? You're cold hearted. Damn, you
No, it's
do.
just like, you can just separate that, I don't
Yes.
wear them on my sleeve,
No, exactly.
Mhm.
You have to compartmentalize and be able to
Totally.
matter of factly discuss this stuff.
Mhm.
Because if you get across that line, you're not seeing it for what it is sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's where we come from with that. But I feel like you may be right with that a little bit as well, a little bit of
Mhm.
damage control. Let's
Yep.
let's keep this nice little neatly packaged up.
Mhm.
Release of certain images, video, and audio have caused plaintiffs to suffer irreparable injury, and there is a reasonable expectation that continued release will cause further irreparable injury, such that a permanent injunction is warranted. As a final remedy, plaintiff's complaint seeks to permanently restrain the city from releasing the investigatory records described above pursuant to the IRCP 65. To do so, plaintiffs must show threatened or actual irreparable harm and that there is a reasonable expectation that the wrong will be repeated. From the pleadings, the city does not dispute plaintiffs' claim that they have suffered irreparable injury due to the initial disclosure, even in the redacted form. Remember, the only threat that I know of came through to Christy Gonzalez at the plea hearing.
Right.
She got that
Sentencing,
text
wasn't it?
message.
Or
She got a text message during the
Mhm.
hearing. Um, a nasty little message. Other than that, I'd if I'm not saying they're not receiving anything, but because there's freaks out there, but I hope they just ignore it. Don't open it if you don't know who it's from, kind of like I do. Don't
Oh,
call
yeah.
me and don't email me because if I don't know you, chances are I'm ignoring that,
Yeah.
especially if you call me. Instead, the city contends it has made the only decision available to it under Idaho law by blurring the bodies and requests the court find the initial redacted versions of the investigatory records to be publicly disclosed. Irreparable injury is an injury that is impossible to remedy or repair. Plaintiffs have set forth indisputed evidence that they have suffered and will continue to suffer irreparable injury, including extreme emotional distress because of the city's release of records. More specifically, the injury sustained has physically manifested itself through sleep disturbances, shaking, and sobbing. While it is likely plaintiffs have suffered these same or similar injuries prior to the city's disclosure due to the trauma they've endured from underlying circumstances over the last several years, she's not wrong. The city has not disputed that its initial disclosure of video, audio, and photographs in their redacted form caused plaintiffs the irre- irreparable injury claimed. So it wasn't the release of this material that caused it. There was already an underlying cause.
Mhm.
As such, plaintiffs are entitled to relief. Conclusion. For the reasons set forth above, the city's disclosure of certain investigatory records would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Plaintiffs have established the disclosure of such records has caused irreparable injury, and further, I got something in my eye, and further disclosure will result in the wrong being repeated. Therefore, the plaintiff's complaint for a permanent injunction is granted in part.
Which
Now,
part?
then you go, now there's another document. Do I have it? Hang on, let me see if I have it. It's a 2-pager. Did I save it?
I would
She
like to
doesn't,
think that she'll leave the blurs, like tell them to remove the
yeah,
black boxes, leave the blurring that they had, and then, like you said, maybe financial records or things like. Well, no, that's not her.
okay, here we
Um,
go. She's got this one other,
those are
and
going to
this
be in
is,
Hippler's wheelhouse, right? Because the
um,
financial records are under the warrants,
all
and
that's in
that's
the
what they're
sealed.
going through.
Yeah, all that's in what the Laramies wanted held back was what the city of Moscow held, which is
Mhm.
all the records we've been unpacking, the investigative records and the body cam stuff. Everything else is under the sealed stuff, but this is all that pertained to is what Moscow was releasing. Um, she got, let me see, this is the other document that came down too, but it was just a addition to what we just read. It doesn't clarify. Now, she mentioned
Oh.
that the black boxes they had put out were already appropriate. So I don't know if she'll leave that or change that. They're already out there with the black boxes on them. They're already out
Mhm.
there. Okay. Judgment is entered as follows. For the reasons set forth in the memorandum decision granting in part plaintiff's complaint her permanent injunction, the city of Moscow is permanently restrained from disclosing photographs or videos without first blacking out any areas within those investigatory records that depict any portion of the bodies and the decedents or blood. And that's all it sounds like she's doing. So she's going to go with the black boxes, it sounds like. And it has to cover the
Ah,
bodies and the
shit.
blood.
Really?
Yep. Permanent, okay. City of Moscow is permanently restrained from disclosing photographs or videos without first blacking out any areas within the investigatory records and depict any portion of the bodies of the decedents or blood immediately surrounding them. Dated October 1, which was yesterday. So there you go.
Well, whatever. The other original versions are already out there,
True. That's
floating
true.
around. So,
Well, we have I've got them. We have them. Um,
yeah.
they're out there. They're on Google Drives even. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and in fact, let's see, what is that one
Yep.
guy's
Photos and
channel?
everything.
Um, that channel you guys turned me on to, was it
Oh, Connor with all
Connor?
the body
One of the
cam.
one of the videos that I watched just the other night was a three-parter of one of the first one of the officers. Anyway, I noticed that when he approached the door, there was an entire black box, right? That was as big as the door. It covered the entire room, all of the bedrooms, including the room Kaylee's where Murphy was at. You could hear the dog. Hear the dog. You can hear the officer saying, "Hey, puppy," but all you see is black. So they're already. That's what they're talking about and he's got the video. I'm gonna look for his channel real quick and show you if I can find it. I know I reviewed it, and it was one of the guys that did three-part. Let's see. That's not him. Here we go. Is it this guy's? Was it Warner's?
Yeah, I think that's the newest one that he put on the
One of the
channel.
newer
I
ones?
haven't
Okay,
watched those yet.
let me fast forward through it just a minute to get in the house, and then I'll see if this is the one where I noticed the big black box. And I was like, okay, this is part one of Warner. I'm just scanning through. Must be in part two when he goes upstairs or enters the house. Let me get directly to his channel. Okay, here we go. Warner part three, part two. I think it's in part two, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch those yet.
I reviewed the first one that he did, and then this because I was doing something, then I had it on, and then I reviewed the second one. Then so I saved them, and there was a three, and I haven't reviewed them all myself either, Dolphin. We haven't even reviewed them here on the channel, and we're going to be doing that.
Oh,
We're going to
okay.
we're going to take a look at all that. It must be in this one, because there's so much that has come down that we haven't looked at yet. All right. If I can find it, guys, I don't want to show you.
Firefly says she believes part two is where Smith points out to him the blood leaking on the outside of the house towards the end of the
Really,
video.
really. Um, Let me grab that channel link, guys, and I'll drop it into chat, and you guys can go check it out at your leisure because there's a lot of body cam videos being dropped there. And that would be the place to go see the body cam videos, and you can review them.
While you're looking for that, remind me again, who did you say was doing a documentary on Ellen Greenberg? Did you say it was Hulu?
Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And
it's
nobody
already
else has done
out.
a documentary on her, a docuseries on her?
I don't know, Dolphin. That's a good question. There's probably some if you Google or YouTube it. You know what I mean? Go search for it
Let
on
me
YouTube
check.
or give it a
Because I'm
Google.
gonna some more.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
give it a look. There might be some, but there may be some like, has Dateline ever done a Greenberg special? Probably. Things like that. I don't know. All right, guys, let me grab this. This may be the first network type. You know what I mean? Like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Death in apartment 603. What happened to Ellen
Mm-hmm.
Greenberg?
And Was it got 3 episodes up?
Um, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely serious. We can watch it together.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yep, watch party.
Okay, here we go. That should be the link, guys, to Connor's video. And they're just the body cam stuff from the different various officers that arrived on scene moving through the house. And Dolphin, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this, but
Mhm.
during the review
Mhm.
of the body cam there,
Yeah.
when officer walks into the house,
Mhm.
Hunter is in the house. Hunter's
Right.
standing in the living room and he's got his arms stretched up over the back of his head.
Yep.
And he's kind of blurred out. So it's hard. First of all, you're like, does he have his hands up? Because they said to. It's just the way he's standing there, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so,
Back by the TV, right?
yeah. But he
Mhm.
tells the cops that when Dylan called to the house, they were on speakerphone. Him and the
Mhm.
Josie and Emily heard what she said. So he
Mhm.
jumps up, he runs, he's the first one over there.
Right.
When he gets there, the door's shut and he has to enter the key code to get in. And
Yes, I
Dylan met
noticed
her
that.
in the
Mhm.
bedroom. Yeah, girl, what are we making of
Mhm.
that?
Firefly
So,
and I paused. I was like, "Did you hear that?"
like, wait, what? Right? It's
Mhm.
one of those minutes that and so I hadn't had a chance to even ask you about that yet because of all the things we've heard, right? The
There's
different.
something else though,
Oh,
with him too, and
what
it's
was it?
not in the body cam footage that you're talking about. It's
Mhm.
in his police interview,
Oh,
at the station
yeah.
where he talked about having to push Xana's door open.
It
Her
was a
door
partially
was
open.
partially open, which means and he said he couldn't see what was in the room until he opened the door, basically. So
He
he said
couldn't
he
see.
had to open it, and then
Yeah.
he saw what was in
I
the room, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute."
Hey, we're gonna review that again. So I've not look, I
Mhm,
have because I'm listening to that whole entire thing as well, and
mhm,
I'm thinking to myself, "Well, so if that's the case, we
mhm.
got old girl running from the bedroom
Running
quickly,
by and seeing her
quickly
well
run."
enough,
Yeah, but
yes,
you saw what?
to identify that her head was facing the other wall, feet were
So
facing the door, she had on a
right.
sweatshirt and
How much
underwear.
of her did you see, Dylan? And from
So
Dylan's point of view,
right, because
it,
that was supposed to be door wide open, right?
that would be our interpretation from what Dylan said, which took us down back to original stories confirmed by one of the parents on Drunk Turkey that door was
Mhm.
shut and Hunter couldn't get in because it was locked and had to get bust in the
All of
door.
that, right, mhm.
All of that
You had to
never
MacGyver to
happened.
get into the room, right.
So did
Oh,
Gonsalves get that information from the YouTube streets or TikTok and they
they
ran with
said
it?
that they talked to Hunter.
They sure did.
Remember? They said he called and told them what happened.
And then since then that interview, does he still have that or he took it down?
Who
And then
knows?
she put out a video because it was a telephone interview or whatever, and
Mhm,
it wasn't like she was on his stream. And then she did do a video telling everybody that was really me on the Drunk Turkey
mhm,
show.
mhm,
So they put that out there a long time ago themselves in the public that door was
mhm,
shut, it was locked, Hunter couldn't get in, he had to bust in. And then we hear Dylan ran past and saw Xana in the floor.
mhm.
Okay, and still you weren't scared. Still at that point, you weren't scared yet. Regardless of everything else that was freaking you out before that, that still wasn't enough to get you over the line. But okay. And now Hunter says it's partially open. And and he didn't even see Ethan before he went and got the knife.
So right, okay, Firefly says he didn't say that he couldn't see in the room. He just said it
Yeah,
was only partially open and
yeah.
he had to open it further. Right. So he didn't say that, but that's my just like assumption from then what he said afterwards was that he had to open the door and then he saw, Xana.
He,
Da da da. So basically he wasn't even able to see Xana
I think
from
that maybe
how
he
the
could.
door was.
Well, maybe he could see legs of Xana, and there really wasn't a lot of blood until he opened the door more. No matter
I
which position she was, I don't know how she was, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
we need to
haven't
talk
yet.
about that because
Yeah,
yeah, mm-mm.
yeah. I feel like From his description, that door was partially open, but I don't know how much he could see, and it sounds like he had to get it open to see, right? So either way, it's going to always be discrepancies in Dylan's story. You can't get away from it.
Hmm.
They're there. They're there. Not my fault. I can read. I
Yeah.
can I can read. I can interpret pretty well, and if I miss it, one of my peeps has got my back. Going, no, 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 you got that wrong, girl. Usually it's Dolphin.
Now, what was I gonna say? Yeah, we can after this or whatever, or if you want to do it, whenever we can
Oh, we're
listen
good.
to
Yeah.
his police interview together because, like, we were listening to it and watching it together, and then I just was like, look, I'm sitting in an office and the door is open for me right now, and I'm looking out into my hallway, right? So I'm imagining what the reverse view would be, and I'm just like, okay, I know which way her door swung in, so I was just like, and I asked Firefly, so look at a doorway that, is in the room that you're in. How far would that door have to be open for you to clearly see somebody that's kind of like right flush in the center of the doorway? And we were even, that picture of Dylan sitting on the floor on that rug in Xana's room with another girl?
Mm-hmm.
I if you looked at that while you're looking at, like, imagining looking at the door or whatever, because you could see
Yeah.
where Dylan and that girl were. I was like, and from the way that that rug is positioned and the chair and the desk are all in that photo, you basically are like, okay, her head was probably right here because this is where that Coors package and then that food bag was on the floor, right? So her head was like back here because if you look at those photos, you could see that they've blurred out a little bit to the left of that Coors box and everything. So
Uh-huh.
head would have to been back here, and so her feet would have been like, kind of going on that rug, right? Basically towards where Dylan and that girl were sitting. So I was like, pull up that photo and look at that room and imagine, that a doorway that is like right there next to you, you know, is that doorway. And imagine if something were straight there in the middle of it, how far open that would have to be, for you to see it. I would even say put something on the floor, like, I don't know, a mop or a broom or
Well,
something like in
and
the
how much
middle of it,
lighting?
and
Right.
open the door, like close the door partially and stand outside of it. And if you've even gotten one where there's a distance, where you can like really stand far back from that door, tell me how far that door would have to be open for you to even see that there's something in the middle of that.
And take into account her eyes are way better than mine. They should be. Also, how much lighting would illuminate that room for you to see a body to begin with? And if you are Dylan, you are apparently you're sprinting from your room down through that hallway.
But apparently she stopped long enough to figure out
Stop
what
long
she
and
had on.
you're right, because if you glanced, are you gonna
She
what are you
described what she
glancing
had
at?
on
And
and the
how much
position she was
exactly?
in.
She described her laying down with underwear on and
Hmm.
the sweatshirt or t-shirt, whatever. Um, so that would mean that from her view, with this door partially open, she could at least see underwear and top part of the body. But okay, I've got Hunter's interview pulled up, Dolphin. Let's.
Yeah, or yeah, a blow up doll, whatever, for experimental purposes, or shoot, just put like a
we,
shirt and a pair of pants on the floor, like
yeah.
literally. That's the size of a body, right? That's the size of your
Mhm.
body. Put your clothing, lay it out, on the floor, like top
Where's
here and pants underneath. Put it behind a door, and remember, this door it swung open to the left, and it hit that wall, which was the part of the bathroom that jutted
yeah.
out, you know and then also take into account the dimensions of that room, so how far back from the door to that other wall where the nightstand is, because that room was not that big either. So
No, it was one of the smaller rooms, and uh, there's I just don't see how Dylan saw what she said she saw.
thank you.
Not
That's my
there's
problem
just no
now.
way. I don't
That's
see it. Um, giving his description of what he come in on and what she claims, and still in my mind I'm giving this girl benefit. You're scared, come down to my room. She runs down to Bethany's. On your way across that small living room, you glance, or did you stop? Ah, Xana's on the floor, and you continued to run. But none of that makes sense. That part doesn't make sense to me. So if Hunt, what could she really see? We don't know. We only can go by what Dylan tells us that she saw, and we don't know if that was a lucid dream or if it was real. With that said, let's, let's I just don't know. This is Hunter's interview, guys. Let me unpack it. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab a Coke while it starts, and
Okay.
let me make sure it's not on mute. Oh, there we go. I'll be right back.
What's your middle initial now? And what's a good phone number for you? And what's a good address for you? Okay. So you do not live at the house, right?
No.
Okay. So what do you got for me? What do you know?
It was like right around noon, maybe just before then, and called my girlfriend that she thought something was not right in her house, and she heard and saw a man in their house last night, and she wanted us to come over to like make sure everything was okay, because they just locked themselves in I think is what they said. And so I was the first one to get over there. I left pretty quickly because I just wanted to make sure, and I got over there and I walked up the stairs, and I immediately went into Xana's room, which was the only room I went into. I went up the stairs, saw them. Were pretty uncontrollably crying.
I went up the stairs, saw them.
Is that what he said? Back up. I was typing.
Okay.
And so I was the first one to get over there. I left pretty quickly because I just wanted to make sure, and I got over there and I walked up the stairs, and I immediately went into Xana's room, which was the only room I went into. I went up the stairs, saw them. Were pretty uncontrollably crying and didn't know what was going on, and I told them to get out of the house and call the cops.
Okay, you immediately saw the girls when he entered. They were crying. Okay, and then
And I went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife from the drawer because I didn't know if someone was still in the house or not. And I grabbed the knife. It's probably still on the little table they have in the living room area.
Downstairs?
Like in the middle, like where the kitchen level, that level.
There's like a little area there.
Yeah, there's an area, and
okay.
I put the knife there after, but I grabbed the knife and I went into the room and I checked like the closet and everything to make sure there was no one in there, and it didn't seem like anyone was in there. And then I
Oops. Can you put the
and I
go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was talking out loud to Firefly because while that was redacted, I was just going to ask her. Her door is swinging open the wrong direction for that.
Oh, I got
And
you. I see it. I'm looking right at it now.
yeah, if she can move the pants legs further, like more centered, because you can see in the photos that like her feet aren't over by the corner of the bed or whatever.
Right. I see what you're saying.
I think like those pants legs, the bottom of them are too far over to the left, and the door needs to swing open into the left. Your door
Yeah.
swings into the right. Because what I'm saying is the door is going to block the view.
My son's door opens to the left.
I just realized that my hall door here, upstairs and downstairs, I've got one door down that swings open to the
Mine's
left,
to
and
the
then this
right.
one swings open to the left when you're
Yeah.
coming from the den, walking back towards the bedrooms. So
Yeah.
when we get done or whatever, I can, like, lay some stuff on the floor.
Yeah. I just thought about that. Mine is, we're on opposite ends of the house, but mine's to the right. His is to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Because my bathroom's to the left, but it's just a bathroom door opener. It's not going to be like a regular door. Huh. So, let me see.
And shoot, I'm forgetting the other guy's name. Sorry, this is just a lot. What's his name? That's his name. They all came into the house. They were coming up the stairs, and I told them, get out. They do not want to come in. They need to get out. And that's when you guys roughly showed up around the scene, was when I told them to get out.
Yeah, okay.
And then one of the policemen came, and I showed him where I saw them, and he just said, stay where you're at. And I said, okay. And I didn't know if there were any more people upstairs. I didn't go up there.
Okay.
The cops came as soon as.
What, did you go to the party last night?
No.
Okay.
I was talking with Ethan. I have texts from him most of the night. We were talking because he wanted me to come, and I didn't really want to walk all the way over there. Yeah.
The text messages, were they just through Messenger, or they through?
Just, normal message, iMessage or whatever.
You got your phone on you?
No, I can go grab it though.
Where is it?
It's just in there.
I'll do that in just a sec. So how do you know Ethan?
I met him during Rush in college. It's where you try to go into a house.
Is Ethan part of a fraternity? He is. Okay.
Yeah. And I met him there and during Rush, and I've known him ever since the fall of last year.
Okay. Are you in a fraternity now?
I'm a grad student. I don't live in the house anymore, but I was in.
Okay. Is that what they call whatever it was?
Or that's a sorority.
That's a different one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know any of these names.
It's totally okay.
Okay. So, your girlfriend.
Yep.
Right. So she gets a call from around noonish.
Yep.
Basically says that there was somebody in the house. She tells you, so you head over to the place.
Yeah, it was on speakerphone, so me all heard it, and we all kind of got up and we're gonna go check on him.
The same sorority? Is that how they know each other?
Yeah, they're also roommates.
Okay. And where does he come in? Is he just...
He's in a different... He's in a fraternity, but he is seeing right now, so he was just staying. He stayed the night over at their apartment. I stayed there and she stayed there. So I was in her room and he was in her room.
Okay. What time... So, I'm trying to figure out who's who now. Did not go to the party last night, right?
No.
That was the one I'm thinking of. There was another vowel name there that I was getting up. Okay, so you and Aaron didn't go to the party?
No.
No. You guys just hung out?
Yeah, they didn't go either.
Okay. And then other than you walked up the stairs,
when I walked into the house and entered the code to get into the house, they were in the room which is on the very bottom
Bottom
floor,
floor.
like right next to the main
To the front,
entrance.
right?
And they heard me come in, and they like were like, oh my god, and I was like, it's just.
It's so Dolphin. So
Mhm.
I'm being reminded that Firefly, you made a comment about doing your experiment with, the don't get a torso doll like Stearns, but it reminded me of when she and I did the experiment of moving through the King Road house, and did this guy have enough time? And when we came down those stairs, and I said to her, "What time is it?" And she said, 4:12. And I remember saying back to her, "Tick tock." And if you know, you know. Because 4:12, Xana was supposed to be on TikTok. And then remember, you went in the dimensions of Xana's room. Remember that whole deep dive on Maddie's room that
Oh
you
yeah.
did? Oh my
Yeah.
god! So yeah, we never did do
I know
Xana's room.
hers.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just dawned on me. We were so focused on Maddie's room and did all
And
that work on there. Yeah.
okay, I'm getting ready. No, see, the pants are still in the wrong place on that
Okay.
last photo. I'm getting ready to put a photo of
What's
the
going on?
room in here. The one
Okay.
that I was telling you about Dylan and some other girl sitting in Xana's floor.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna put it in your Discord.
Okay.
And that's when I walked upstairs, and they're like, we don't know what's going on. And I checked it out, and
How'd you get the code to the door?
we just know it because we're all friends.
Okay. When was the last time that you were over at?
The last time before today was yesterday.
Okay. And what were you doing over there yesterday?
We were pre-gaming the football game for the families.
Gotcha. Was anybody there?
No, she was at work at the football game.
What time did you get to house, and you guys left at game time, I'm guessing?
What time did we get there?
Yeah.
I would say it was roughly either noon or 1.
Okay.
Like somewhere around there.
Then what time did you guys leave?
We left their house and went to a different apartment at the Whites at, I would say, roughly like 2:30.
Okay.
And then everyone left and there was no one there.
Okay.
We all left together.
So last time you were there was 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time I was there?
Oh lordy, it went nuts again. But is he describing again where he went into that room? Because that's what we wanted to hear to start with. Or was that the very beginning? Firefly. So yeah, it would have to be more of the upper body for Dylan to be able to see the underwear and a shirt. Right, Dolphin? Is that the way you're explaining it?
Oh, sorry, I'm actually typing to her. The last photo, it's the pants are at the wrong angle. She had the angle of the pants right in the first one, because that would put her head towards the bed. In that last one.
Oh, I was like, what's this truck doing outside my house? There's a guy weed eating the ditch. All right. Don't be looking all sus outside my house.
Okay, Gray has the floor plans. Oh yeah, no, I don't mind Gray. Just saying.
We had them. You know what? I don't got them on the PC, but I know I used to have them. I mean, they're on my phone. Let's see.
Maybe the person who showed the floor plans, because a couple people linked the floor plans one day in here, and they were like 2 different floor plans. So in the grand jury testimony, she said she knew she had on a sweatshirt and underwear. I figured maybe she just said underwear because she saw her bare legs,
Right.
Or whatever. But that was in the grand jury testimony, the part that Hippler quoted in one of his docs.
Here's some images from Reddit. But that's wait. Go back. That's not what I wanted. Show more images. Let's see. That's not Xana's room. Yeah, it was. Go back. Bedroom.
So, hmm. Um,
Bedroom 4. Okay, here's Xana's room, and let me.
the way that so this is for Firefly, the photo that I linked of Dylan and this girl sitting in Xana's room, the way that they mention this with her feet being towards the door and then her head being towards that opposite wall, right? I imagine that her feet and her body are kind of almost in this spot, like, or like the end of her body is in this spot where they're sitting, in order for that door to swing all the way open. And if you look past the right side of Dylan, past that hip, like her butt, there's a little corner. That's where the bathroom wall juts out. So when you open this door, it would like slam. If you opened it all the way, it would hit this wall. And so basically your view is literally straightforward right through where Dylan and this girl are sitting, and then through that rug and beyond the chair, all that.
You can see in the image that when the cops are there with the door open, what the view field of view is, and like you were just describing. But with the door open, this going to be even limited. So if she saw underwear and a shirt, the upper body had to be what was visible. But then again, it's lucid girl, so I don't know what was real. Now I just pulled these up on Reddit, Dolphin. I was just showing. So they're just different floor plans, but I know we would like to have the ones with like measurements.
Yeah, I know, I've seen them. I'll start looking.
Here we go.
There you go. There you go.
Let
That's
me.
the foyer, the kitchen. Oh, it's
Let me
behind the
grab
kitchen. Yep.
Let me grab this link.
Mm-hmm.
Link copied. Okay. Don't switch. All right. I'm sending it to you.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Cool, thanks.
All right. What's chat doing?
2 inches.
So there's been a document came down, the probable cause attack for the what's that girl's name? Lakin Snelling, her arrest. We'll get into that, not today, but I know that came down.
Okay.
This girl had apparently took photos of herself while she was in labor. And what? Like I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I do have a copy of it. But interesting to see what kind of defense they'll have for that case. All right, let me check in on the chat situation here.
Oh, this is supposed to be the house?
Let's see. It's supposed to be original King Road home. That's all I can see.
Yeah, some stuff's out of whack here.
We'll continue to Google. That's all. That's one of the first things I've seen. I haven't deep dove to see if it was like real and accurate yet. King Road. Let's see. Go to images actually. And I've got them on my phone somewhere. I'd have to look through my thousands and thousands of images, but wouldn't be too. There's virtual tour thingy was still up back when that was up. There's still all kind of floor plans out there for you to choose from. Lots and lots to choose from, as usual. All right. Ow, got an itch. All right. Oh, Barry Morphew, he's over there still fighting hard to keep everything in the world in the dark. Let's see. Yeah, Riley, she described seeing Xana laying there with in her underwear. And thought she was passed out, I guess, and like that was normal or something. Yeah, Josie's boyfriend. Right, Rachel? Won't it be interesting to see what the defense does? How do you play that kind of case? She didn't know. Well, not according to her phone. She might have known. But I don't know how the people didn't know around her. I've saw pictures of that girl cheerleading where she looked like she had a baby bump going on. How did y'all not know? People turning that blind eye again in life. Did nobody want to insult her by saying, "Hey, did you gain a little weight?" It's my friend. I might. Like, girl, what's going on? Are we swollen? You see a doctor. Hey days, Jade. The smell of blood in the house, the one of the great debates of the century for the past 3 years. Yes, indeed. Pe- People always wonder if they smelled a smell when they came into the home that morning, or if the roommates never smelled a smell all night. And we don't know, we weren't there to smell. How much did the cold play a fact in it? How much did not knowing what that smell was you smell is, right? You're young, you're hungover. Something smells funky, but I don't know what that is. I can't expect them to automatically know what that smell is. But yeah, the first mistake is I see a strange man. I'm scared. I'm not scared. I hear my roommate with fear in her voice, and then I see one on the floor in underwear, and yeah, it's an icky whole mess. Been discussed so many times. I was scanning through them Coburger photos by accident earlier looking for something else. I was like, man, this dude, I'm still not finished wrapping my head around all this mess of craziness wrapped up in that man's head. So, guys, we're going to have to keep an eye on what's happening now that the judge has handed down the issue or the order in the Laramie Chapins versus the city of Moscow. Redactions on the videos and that, the photos, and that's it. Everything else, all the documents, they come with what would be their normal redactions applied, right? So maybe we'll get more documents dropped on their website soon enough. Maybe I wonder if the Idaho State Police have held back anything else they haven't put on their website they created, waiting to see what happened with this case. Do you think they have more to drop off in on their end? Or is it all tied
Yeah, I
into
think
what
they do.
Moscow has, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, there has to be more on their end as well. So we will keep an eye on that as that unfolds and see what happens there. You guys, if you have the Hulu, go check out the Ellen Greenberg docuseries. It should be a good one. We'll see what they unfold there and if they bring anything new to the table and just shed light on what's happened there in that case. And of course, Celeste David. Will there be an arrest soon? We don't know. Hopefully. We all feel like there should have been one already, right? Even if you can only get them on disposing of the corpse and tampering with evidence and all the things, at least get them on that. And if you could apply a murder charge later, then do that. But I don't know what's happening there now. So we'll have to stay tuned. Apparently there is laundry connected to the second floor bathroom in King Roadhouse. I have no idea I have no idea, Firefly. Somebody see something in the laundry? Or you have to fill me in later because I'm unclear. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go for the day. I'm gonna go get busy around here and prepare for my dinner later and go outside and touch grass for a little while. We're having nice weather here because the humidity is down, so I've been enjoying it.
Okay.
Wait, now you see why people thought there was a laundry room across from Xana's bathroom.
Yeah, the floor plan that you got off of Reddit has it across the hall from the bathroom, and that floor plan is wrong because it has her closet in a different space, and I'm like, I don't
Right.
know where they got this
The
floor plan
mysterious
from.
room with the key code nobody was at. Yeah, which was what you said. It was the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Sliding
we'll have
glass
to.
door. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get the accurate one. They're out there. Like I said, it's on my phone somewheres. It's been so long since we looked at any of the floor plans because we know it so well. In our minds, we know this floor
Yeah.
plan inside and out, kind of like the darn map of Idaho.
Like the
But
toilet is in the wrong place, the shower's in the wrong place, the
she's
sink and everything. Yeah.
yeah, dang it, man. It's set when we know the details down to the stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. But that's because we've deep dove so many aspects
Mhm.
to do with this case, right? Shut all that deep diving we did into Koberger himself that now is all playing out before our very eyes. Isn't that crazy?
Mhm.
That our assumptions about this, our analytical assumption as we evaluated him over time, Dolphin and I were pretty spot on about this guy.
Yeah.
we, we were pretty spot on about this guy. Couldn't fool us, mister, out there fooling the rest of the world with your trickery. Look at me, I'm a handsome guy going to college. I can't hurt nobody. Oh well. Anyway, with that said, y'all know what I say. Be careful in them YouTube streets. There's potholes everywhere. You will fall in and you may not come back out. There's nobody to sue when that happens, so be careful. We'll come back tomorrow with another big show. I'll do updates if anything pops up tonight that we need to cover tomorrow. We'll get that done. I am planning to have Taya return to the show, hopefully with Brandy. We're going to continue our discussion at Letcher County, but there's a specific angle I want to take with that, so I'm going to be talking to her. Hopefully later today, she and I can get together and get a game plan on how that show's going to go. So I'm not real sure what all we'll cover tomorrow, but there's always something in these true crime cases to cover. So whether it's Celeste updates that pop up overnight, or with the Koberger case, or any of the cases we're out here covering, and if there's cases you guys are like, hey, you never talk about this case and I want to know a little more, let me know. Leave me comments somewhere. I do look at a lot of stuff, so I never know what you guys are super interested in. And I don't really cover a lot of trials here because I'll tell you, Karen Reed consumed me and killed me in the algorithm at the same time. Don't you know? But covering a full-on trial daily is a lot of work. I would be covering Idaho right now because it's one of those beginning to end cases. So we cover a lot about what goes on in trials. So we may get to another trial eventually, just depends on the cases we're following. So like Celeste's case, if there's an arrest and this David guy is arrested and or whoever, and they go to trial, we will, we'll watch it. So there's a lot of things going on that we can always keep up on here.
Yeah, that one's probably not going to be a long trial anyway.
Oh God,
Celeste.
no. No. When we reviewed that local trial here, Sheila Aggie, where she was texting with her son, telling him how to get to the Home Depot to come over and to murder. Oh goodness. Anyway, all of Sheila's texts. So anyway, her trial happened here locally, right? And it was a mistrial because the juror decided to do a crossword puzzle.
Oh boy.
It helped her concentrate, she said. So caused a mistrial. But her actual trial, when it restarted, we watched it in a matter of hours on the channel one night. Because a few of the community members knew of the case. We'd actually talked about it on the live because it did make national news a little bit there. But it was a crazy case, but her trial didn't take long at all. So some of these trials don't take long at all, and some take weeks upon weeks. What was Idaho scheduled to run for, Dolphin?
I think it was like 12 weeks.
Was it up to 12 weeks?
Yeah, it was going to be really long.
6 to 8. Yeah, going to be a really long trial for Anne to move through all of that terabytes of discovery.
Yeah, because it was pretty much almost beginning or middle of August till almost to the time of the murders. I think it was supposed to end right before the anniversary. Or whatever. So.
Yeah. And that's what we would be doing right now if that was happening. And I was getting mentally prepared for it because it is a long day to cover a trial like that. And then how many times would they interrupt it, not have court because this or that was happening, like we saw with Karen Reed. We never knew what was going to happen day to day over there.
Yeah, Karen Reed was awful though, because
horrible.
Ev was corrupt.
Completely horrible to watch. and deal with, because we didn't know, are we going to get the whole day in? Are we going to get a half a day in? You were just prolonging the inevitable by putting all this off. Stuff y'all should have done, hashed out pre-trial hearings. Like Judge Shipler said, this stuff better get took care of pre-trial hearings. That's what they're for. But yeah, dang, that trial was, Karen Rue was crazy. And that's a train wreck happening over there now. I'm like, well, I knew it. I knew it, but oh well. Jodi Arias, that was crazy. That girl's
But wasn't
so,
it an interesting trial to watch, though?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
considering that it was so long ago, but all the different things that they found, like the evidence and everything that they found
yeah,
for her, and how they tracked her butt and everything, and
yes.
knew
You
she turned her phone off on the drive, and that was a
you find
wild
some
case.
really good stuff in the trials, right? Like that, that information and how they came about obtaining the information
Yep.
and what it means, and unpacking that. So,
She
um,
threw a digital camera in the washer, turned it on, and they were still able to recover the SD card and the deleted
isn't
images.
that crazy?
That
That
is nuts.
Yeah, kind of like that. Oh man, the
Oh, I need to
technology
watch Murdaugh. Yeah.
the technology that's coming, that is available for stuff like that, even with evidence like if camera footage and video surveillances and photos enhancings and all of the things, you want it done, but done properly without changing what's there, like the DNA in the Rex Heuermann case and the lab and the type of testing they're doing. When you have a hair follicle, you can't test it the way you could other DNAs. And so you need the follicle. With these new tests, you do not. But what they're doing with that DNA is missing stuff. They add it in. I'm like, where'd you get it from to add it in? Yeeks, what? So I watched a thing about that and it got me scratching my head going, damn, if I'm a defense attorney and now I don't know what to do, right? So it was one of those kind of moments for me out there having my coffee in La La Land. I'm like, damned if we do and damned if we don't. Kind of like that IgG tool. Who cares if we're catching the bad guy? Right?
Oh, yeah, speaking
Yeah.
of, they just, used that and,
The yogurt.
solved a cold case. Yeah, the yogurt girls.
The
Yeah,
yogurt.
Firefly told me about that.
So I do
Mhm.
have information on that case. So I'm thinking tomorrow, honestly, that I wanted to do it today, but we had these other updates to get to. And I
Mhm.
think that we need to spend a little time on the yogurt case because I feel like there's probably a lot there to unpack, like the backstory. And there was some things that happened before the new confirmation came down that it was solved. And so just get some of that material together and unpack really what that is there. But yeah, they finally solved that murder after all this time. And it's a sad case.
Yeah,
4
'cause he
young
still
girls
should have
and
been in
2 were
prison.
sisters.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was like 2 of them worked at the yogurt shop. 2 of the girls worked there, and the other 2 girls had met the other girls there, and they were all gonna walk home together. And yeah, this madman enters the building and does what a madman does. And it was horrific. It turns out, was he a serial killer?
He I was he a killer? He did some
Yeah,
other things because
yeah,
he had been convicted for something and had a 12-year sentence for something before that, and he should have still been in prison, but they let him
yes.
out for good behavior, and I think it was 3 years, I think Firefly
Mhm.
said. 3 or 4 years. So,
Drop
yeah.
me some drop me some info, ma'am. You know where to leave it. I'll start a channel if I need to so we can organize it. Um, and in fact, did I do that? I may have him. I was playing around with my channels yesterday, trying to reorganize my
Oh, yeah.
systems and make it easier for everybody. Um,
Mhm.
but if I didn't create a channel for that topic, I certainly will, so we can drop information in there this afternoon or this evening or when
I
you
think
guys
that's the
find it.
channel for it.
Okay,
Mhm.
because I do want to get because I do have a couple of news pieces put together about that already,
Mhm.
and so I do want to touch on that case and cover it because yeah, IGG and CC Moore I think was involved in that case.
She
So,
was. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, Firefly said he went to, like, 4 or 5 different states. Apparently, he was in
yes,
Georgia,
right,
for a bit.
Firefly. That's
Texas,
crazy.
Florida, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that wild, and he's dead now, right?
Mhm.
He's gone. So, but at least he was identified. Um, yeah, we'll do that. We'll unpack the yogurt shop murders tomorrow, guys. And if anything pops off that needs to be discussed about one of these cases, first thing, we'll, of course, handle that and move on. And then we'll get to the yogurt shop murders. So, you guys look forward to that tomorrow to wrap up our week of true crime here on the channel. Y'all know I take the weekends off. I do have plans on Saturday to join the family for a fish fry. Um, and Sunday, I regroup and what do you it's self-love, self-care day or whatever. I just kind of like ish. But his first arrest was in Florida and he did a shameless small amount of time for what he did. Oh boy. Okay, well, we're going to look into this guy a little more and see what he's out there doing where you can have across the nation. See, if we don't think there's not one sitting out there right now in his basement, in his closet, in his bedroom in the dark, plotting, we should really think about that because that's what's happening right now. Somewhere in America, that's happening. It's insane. All right, Dolphin, thanks for coming up and joining me.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you had a cool little trip. You deserve a little trip.
Getting ready to take another one too. Just got to decide when to leave.
We got self-care all over the place. We
I'm going
preaching
to
it.
Florida.
Oh, look, she's like, I'm going to Florida.
Yeah,
You're not coming.
SeaWorld was having a sale.
Wait. She's got me and Firefly in Florida. Which one are you going to see, ma'am?
You're
like,
definitely the
well,
wrong direction.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Firefly is going to win because she happens to be closer.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about Key West this time, and
Oh, nice.
Orlando was halfway, so I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
SeaWorld
yeah.
had a flash sale that was going on until September 28th, and their tickets were $69.99 instead of $143.99. So I had to jump on it. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat that. That'll be a good time. That'll be fun. Key West, huh?
Got to take the mascot with me too.
Are you gonna our show mascot Pipsqueak? Are you gonna go get wasted away in Margaritaville?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, southeast of disorder, where you can shake the hand of the Mango Man.
I got pretty tipsy in this French restaurant in Asheville. I took
Oh, did you
photos
get
of.
moonshine?
No, it was I had to make me a Vesper because they actually
Oh,
had the ingredients there since it was a French restaurant, and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, this is so good!" And get this, for their bread service, they had just besides just bread and butter, they had roasted garlic cloves, right, in oil, so you could just like put some butter, and then put the garlic cloves on top and smush them. Oh my God, it was so good. Yeah, I should have stayed in Asheville a little bit longer. That place was so good.
Oh, no, you can schedule a trip to go back, and now you know, right? Take an
Yep.
put it on the books. Take an extended trip next time. Wow. Okay. Well, Dolphin's out here living her best life, and we're here for it. Let's meet in Key West.
You want to go to Key West?
I'd go to Key West for the summer. Or for the winter, no, the summer only. No, just kidding. It's
This is
actually,
what, fall still, or
yeah,
'cause we're in
Florida.
October now?
Yeah, it's not going to be cold for me on my end of Florida till late October or early November into November. It depends. It's a toss up. The last 2 weeks of last week and a half of October leading into November is a toss up if we're going to be cool or warm, cool or warm. That goes on for a while. Sometimes we have a very warm Christmas. It's like it's hot outside. It doesn't feel like Christmas. But Firefly will stay a little warmer than even I am down.
Right.
She's in South or Central Florida, and I'm down here on the Panhandle in Northwest. Yeah, fall just started. I can tell Firefly our humidity's down so much. I'm sure yours is as well. It's feeling great. But you must get jump in your suitcase.
I saw that. I took a carry-on bag. I traveled fairly light. Pipsqueak is the one that had all the junk. I mean, I had the foam stairs so she could get up on the bed, and
The
the
queen had to have
turtle
all
and
of her things.
yeah.
Dolphin's like, this dog will drive me batty if I
I
don't have
know.
all of this. And
I
you're
brought like
right.
4 blankets, for inside the SUV that I rented, and And then for the bed, and because I was like, oh, dog's not supposed to be in the rental car. So I
Right.
just covered
If
everything with blankets, and I was like, we're good.
and the more comfortable you can make her, the happier she is, just like the kids when you're traveling. So totally, totally get it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you guys go have a great afternoon.
Hmm.
Stay safe out there, and we'll see you back here in the morning, and we'll unpack the yogurt shop murders and see what's going on with that case. All right, everybody have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from little Yas to each